Afternoon from our league. Rugby League is back, and what a great way to return for two clubs who've had an enforced year out, because today we're at the Rock, just a stone's throw away from Wembley. It's the home of Rosslyn Park Rugby Union Club for the Betfred Challenge Cup first round clash that sees championship contenders London Broncos host League One Keighley Cougars. Neither club has ever won this historic competition. Will 2021 be their year? Let's take a look then at how the teams will line up. Four debutants in the lineup selected by Broncos coach Danny Ward. Ed Chamberlain is at full-back. We've got Abbas Miski, Chris Hankinson, skipper Will Lovell and debutant Gideon Bowafo as the three-quarter line, with Jimmy Meadows and Corey Aston lining up as the half-back combination. Romain Navarrete, formerly of course of Wigan, up front alongside Sam Davis and Olsey Krasnicki. Reece Curran and another debutant in Jacob Jones returning to the club, along with Josh Walters are the back row forwards, and then on the bench Greg Richards, Josh Hodson and two more newcomers in Titus Guaze and Paulos Latu. Now then, Keighley Cougars, who set off this morning on their coach trip down from West Yorkshire with three debutants on the bus. Reece Lovegrove has selected Ben Stead at full-back, Mo Agoro, Tyler Prell, and then two of those newcomers in Charlie Graham and Robert Matamosi in the three-quarter line. Billy Gaylor and Jack Miller, the half-back combination, with Matthew Bailey, Ryan Wright and Brendan Santee, another debutant today. The front row forwards, Josh Lynham, Dan Parker and Kieran Moran complete the pack. And then the four on the bench, Jack Coventry, club skipper Kyle Keswick, former Doncaster legend of course, Aaron Levy and Jack Arnold. So no QLT, no PLT in today's Keighley lineup. Let's then hear from the coaches. Our reporter Paul Kidd has been speaking to both of them. First up is Broncos coach Danny Ward.
Okay, Danny, it's been a long time since the last outing away at York, just over 12 months ago. Whereabouts are you in terms of preparations, in terms of where you would like to be?
I think we're in a pretty good place, so we'll soon see today, won't we? But, you know, the boys have had a really good pre-season. It's been a very strange one, very different to what we're normally used to. But the boys are in a good place, they're fit, they're ready to go, they're just chomping at the bit to have a game under the belt now. Like it's been 12 months, who would have known, you know, that game in York 12 months ago, that would have been his last. So I'm just looking forward to seeing the boys out there, getting a smile on their face and enjoying themselves. You know, it's been a challenging period for them. I want to see them go enjoy a game of rugby.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously today, Challenge Cup game, the start of the new season. What would it mean to the Broncos to have a good cup run this year?
Huge, I think. You know, the Challenge Cup's always special, certainly to me, and I hope it is to the lads as well. It's a fantastic competition. Cup football, you know, always excites you, excites the fans, and we really want to put a good show in today. We're not looking too far ahead in terms of a cup run, but it'd be fantastic, you know, to get the job done today, and who knows, you into the next round, and cup football, you know, who knows where you can go. So again, we're just enjoying being back on the field. Hoping for a strong performance, work on the things that we've done and been highlighting in pre-season, and yeah, the magic of the cup is back.
Okay, Reece, you've managed to get one pre-season friendly in against the Bradford Bulls. It was a pretty competitive performance as well. Whereabouts are you in terms of where you would like to be for today's game?
Yeah, it was a good hit out last week. We're certainly a lot better for it. Today offers a whole host of different challenges. Obviously, it's a good away tie for us on a beautiful, nice, wide 4G pitch. So it'll be really, really interesting on how we compete. Probably the questions last week were how we could defend against such a direct, big forward pack that Bradford offer with a good kicking game from Danny Brough. Today's probably going to be more about how well we can attack. London like to play an expansive game, so do we traditionally. So it'll be really interesting to see how our systems and processes work against such a top quality opposition as London Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you mentioned obviously London Broncos flying high in the championship. It's a big test, but just what would it mean to Keighley Cougars to progress in the cup and have a decent cup run this year?
Yeah, I think it's probably less about like a traditional cup run as it probably normally would be. As everyone knows, obviously in the midst of COVID, we've had a lot of time off footy. So probably the cup run is more about the continuity of games now than a traditional cup run sense. It would just be good for us just to be able to play footy. It's been so long with very limited amounts of games for these players. Like a lot of my players haven't, well, some of them haven't played since 2019. So, and last week was their first hit out. So it's probably going to be more about, we want to get these performances first. If the results take care of themselves after that, that's great. And then we have an opportunity to ask more questions of ourselves in the following weeks. So obviously York got a great win last night. So obviously the winner of this game will get a very, very tough game next week as well, which would be a great opportunity for us to showcase what we can do.
Yeah.
Reese Lovegrove, yeah, the winner of this one, playing against the York City Knights, who of course beat Sheffield Eagles by 30 points to 6 at the Keepmoat Stadium at Doncaster last night. Now then, joining me in the commentary box to call this one for you is former Norths and London Broncos hooker, and of course twice as well, having had spells as the Broncos head coach, Tony Ray. Tony, how good is it to be back?
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? I think you could. I think both coaches there mirrored a lot of what we were thinking, and leading into this game gives us a bit of a pointer on how they're thinking. Danny Ward talking a lot about bring a smile back to their face, get back out on the field. It's been so long. Quite a euphoric feeling from them, you know, from him and Reese Lovegrove. Of course, these guys, these guys have played a game already, so he was talking more about getting rhythm, getting back into the game, you know, thinking about last week was defence, now it's attack. So it's an interesting way this game will open. If you think about that, the Broncos are thinking about feeling their way into the game. They're thinking about we're playing again. Well, Keithley already done that. They did that a week ago, so they'll be very focused, and that creates some dangers for London. London could find themselves under a little bit of pressure early, because if they're going to go out and try and find the game and hit the rhythm, all those excuses sit in the back of your head a little bit as well. You know, haven't played for a year, and there's lots of things you're trying to find in the game. So in some ways that balances it up. You'd say London have got the talent, but Keithley have got a little bit of an opportunity here given their experiences in the last week or so.
Yeah, and as they have played a game, as you say, you know, no pre-season match for the Broncos, who decided not to make the trip north and risk, you know, the COVID situation on the players. And you know, hats off to them, if you like, for being sensible about that. They've had a couple of opposed sessions from speaking to Danny Ward yesterday ahead of this one. But, you know, how much can you get from an opposed session within your own squad by comparison to even a warm-up hit out against another opposition?
It's not ideal, but it's the right decision. You know, they've cut the pre-season into and shaped it the way they've wanted to shape it. They've got some advantages. The pitch we're looking at is they've been looking at this. They've been training on this pitch. They've been working through these spaces the whole pre-season. That's going to give them some great advantages.
Yep, well, we'll see how this one pans out then. 3 o'clock kickoff here. Rugby League is back at last as we get on the road to Wembley.
A unique twist to Rugby League's big day. The fireworks go off. There's no roar in the background, but there'll be plenty of roar on the pitch. Leaning quickly out there. They've got numbers around. Gets it away. And it's going to be another cup final try for Tom Briscoe. Ball bounces end over end in the air, but that's superbly taken by Colin Watkins, and Evans is involved, and here comes Rhys Williams, and Williams is away. He's going to take some stopping, and Rhys Williams with a try from nothing. Gale puts the ball away. Williams tries to come in and stop it, but he can't stop it, and it's going to be Ash Handley. It's all about the kick here, and has he got it? No, he's not. So it remains at 16 points apiece. Now it comes Gale. Look, Gale with a drop goal, and he peels away in celebration of the moment, because he knew the moment it left the boot, it was going over. Thumbs up for Gale. Hooter sounds before they do, and Leeds gather round in jubilation. Salford sink to their knees. But what a cup final we've seen here today. What a great game of rugby league that was. This has been an unforgettable year, and here is an unforgettable moment for this group of Leeds players.
Yeah, unforgettable moment, unforgettable Challenge Cup final, I should say, last year at Wembley in front of no crowd, but one of the great games. Will either of these teams be lining up at Wembley in July? Let's have a look at them again. London Broncos then. Danny Ward, of course, head coach, has selected Ed Chamberlain at fullback, Abbas Miski, Chris Hankinson, Will Lovell, who's skippering the side today, and debutant Gideon Boafo as the three-quarter line, with the experience of Corey Aston alongside Jimmy Meadows as a half-back combination. Romain Navarrete, Sam Davis and Olsi Krasnicki are the front three. Jacob Jones is back at the club, having been in the academy here and then spent a spell at the Coventry Bears, a 21-year-old back for his debut with the London Broncos. In the second row with Josh Walters at loose forward, Greg Richards, Josh Hodson and two more newcomers in Titus Guaze and Paulos Latu are the interchanges for the Broncos. Let's have a look at what Rhys Lovegrove has brought with him then in terms of ammunition for the Cougars. Ben Stead at fullback, Mo Agoro, Taylor Prell, two debutants in Charlie Graham and Robert Matamosi form the three-quarter line, with Billy Gaylor and Jack Miller the half-back combination. And then up front, Matthew Bailey, Ryan Wright at hooker, and the other prop, Brendan Santi, on debut for the club, the current captain of Italy. Josh Lynham and Dan Parker, the second-row forwards, and Kieran Moran, Scottish international, is at loose forward, with Jack Coventry, club skipper Kyle Keswick, Aaron Levy and Jack Arnold, the four on the bench for the Keighley Cougars. So, kick-off looming then, 4 minutes or so away. Today's referee, by the way, Robert Hicks. Tony, twice in charge of Challenge Cup finals, so I guess a measure maybe of the importance of this one that he's been given the appointment.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for Robert to get back into form and back into refereeing in front of what is looking like going to be a very exciting and challenging cup tie for both sides. I think the quality of the referee can always help inside of that, and we've seen him talking to the players and talking to the groups and really giving a lot of confidence and certainty to what's going to be coming in the next 80 minutes.
How difficult is it for a team playing away from home on a 4G pitch when they've not had the opportunity, we don't think at least, to train on it? How much of an advantage is it for the home side? It's
between your ears, really. A lot of teams come down. You know, the bounce of the ball. We all know the bounce of the ball a bit different, and so there's some little nuances that you could say are a challenge for these guys. But equally, you know, the tough challenges, you play tough. You can see they're together, Keighley. They're enjoying being down here. They've travelled down together, a lot of time together. A lot of that can actually help you, and you go into new challenges early on. And I think the biggest thing, I've said it, I'll say it again, I said it earlier, is they have played. So they'll walk out knowing they're working on some tangible things inside their game. So I would expect Keighley should be able to dominate the early stages of this game.
And in terms of what they've got in the 17s for each side, pack strength, and in terms of their experience, the Broncos, you'd have to say, would look the stronger of the sides on paper.
Yeah, I think definitely athletically they're full time. They're in working harder, so they'll be better prepared. There's always those little margins there. They've spent a little bit more money, so the fact is you get a better quality of player when you do that. But it's going to be marginal. You know, it's not that the Broncos are a mile away. It's not a Super League side down to a League One side. We're talking about a championship side that's got to prove itself. The Broncos are it's a bit of a rebuilt team there, so they've big changes for them from the last time they were out on the field. So lots and lots of questions. With those questions does come excitement. There's some exciting players to look at. I like you're talking about Jacob Jones, for example, in the Broncos Academy, goes off to Coventry, comes back in, trained particularly well from everything I've heard in the preseason, and really earned his way into this team. Now who knows where that takes you? You've gone through you've done the hard yards out on the wood chips, getting your game together and learning it. You've come out and have a good performance today, and then another good performance against the top teams, and then you're into your way into having a really good career. As we look at the Broncos training centre here at Roslyn Park in West London, the new venue. So it's all new for London. It's new, it's exciting, and people like Jacob Jones coming into the team and Gideon Boaffa coming under the wing. It's all great stuff happening for the club. Mike Eccles there, the Broncos trainer, this has been his showtime, really, the pre-season. This is they're really very important to what happens to these opening parts of the season, so he'll be nervous. And
body-wise, I mean, that first hit, they talk about the first hit, the bruises you feel after a first hit out. Again, without having had a proper opposed game, there's going to be a few aches and pains being carried out of this one during the week.
Definitely. I think all of us that have ever played at any level across the game always remember that week after that first game back after a period. You're shocked as how tired you actually are. Nice beard from Robert Hicks there, eh? Looking very woolly there. But he's keen to get them out on the field and get excited. But you're right about the first game. It's the other thing in the first game is you get a bit of a shock. You get into that sort of 10 or 12 minutes into that first game, and no matter what you've done, no matter how hard you've trained in the preseason, those lungs are burning, and you just got those questions. You you know, you don't have the trainer blowing the whistle and go and get a water and go and have a rethink and let's go again. You've got to fight your way through these periods as hard as you train. There's nowhere to hide when you're out in the field, and the actual results on the line here, the early part of the season. That's what pre-season really gets to you. That's when you really realise there's no way to cut corners. You really need to get out and in some ways reward yourself for all the efforts. It's why we do it, but it's also challenging.
Yep, so approaching kick-off then here at The Rock. As I say, it's the home of Rosslyn Park Rugby Union Football Club. Now,
so well known.
Rosslyn Park.
So well known, Rosslyn Park for Martin Offiah.
I was just going to say the very same thing. One of the Rugby League legends. As here come the teams. And Keighley Cougars and London Broncos then making their way out from the changing rooms here. Now, as far as Keighley are concerned, they've got, if you like, fish to fry in terms of trying to climb their way out of League One, get into Championship Rugby League. But what a great way to start their season if they could kick things off. Really give it a great kick-start boost at the start of the season with a win here.
I agree. It's sort of set up nicely to travel. As we said, travel down together. Playing on the 4G is great. It's not a muddy, slow, dreary game. It's going to be a fast open. Reece Lovegrove showed his hand to say these guys in London, they're going to really play open, exciting brand of rugby league, and Keighley will look to match that. More about attack, getting points on the board. So that's going to be a great way for Keighley to build through their season.
The bearded Robert Hicks then, as I mentioned, refereed the Challenge Cup finals of both 2018 and 2019, barking those last few instructions to both sets of players. Cougars
he also refereed me in one game.
Did he?
It was
not that old,
the highest ever game of rugby league, but it was in we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro for Steve Prescott, and we played a game of rugby league.
And so 13 seconds to be observed at the start of all matches for the players with regard to the Black Lives Matter campaign. And the action can begin then. Danny Ward, of course, head coach of the London Broncos, will be hoping to see his team through to round 2 and a tie against York next week. He did play in a couple of Challenge Cup finals himself, on the losing side though, for Leeds against Bradford Bulls back in 2003 in Cardiff, and back at the same venue a couple of years later in that dramatic late win with the Paul Cook try for Hull FC, a grand final winner, of course, Danny Ward as well.
Okay, mate, when you're ready.
Well, we're underway with Challenge Cup action at the Rock. Ed Chamberlain kicking it deep into the Cougars half of the field then, and Keighley looking to spread this straight away. And it's Matt Amosi down the left-hand side, and he's already been taken into touch, and super tackle there from Gideon Boafo, and he's forced in the end Dan Parker across that left-hand touchline.
Great set. Well, he wasn't lying, Reece Lovegrove. He said, we're going to attack, and they attack right from the off. We're not going to take it up the middle. We're not going to challenge the London Broncos, who've elected to take the handover in the middle of the field. We'll see a lot of that, so he challenges the Keighley defenders.
So Krasnicki plays the ball. Here they go with Corey Aston down the left-hand side, trying to find some space to get a breakthrough is Reece Curran. Cougars defence up to it in these early stages. Davis goes in acting halfback. Here's Aston. Navarrete now on the drop-off ball, heading towards the posts.
Move together, get square there.
Strong defence in the early stages from the Keighley Cougars. Again, switching player left. Here's Aston. Tries to get the ball away to Curran, does so. Lovely run as well. Hit the ball on a good angle, Reece Curran. Tackled just short of the line. Josh Walters trying to get in on the act. But a dash from acting halfback sees Davis pulled up a metre short of the line. Here they come towards the post down this right-hand side. It's Meadows trying to step his way through off the right foot. And they're looking for some daylight down the right-hand touchline. It could be the first try of the afternoon here. Gideon Boafo, has he got the ball down? Referee Robert Hicks checks with his touch judge. And that is the first points of the London Broncos season, and it goes the way of Gideon Boafo.
Fantastic effort from London there. Wonderful set of 6. Knew what they were doing. Gideon Boafo back in after some injuries in 2019.
To be honest,
Aston hits the money ball.
you don't
Terrific
crash the
pickup. A
boat,
lot
you'll
of
get
work
anything
to do,
from anyway.
Boafa. Wonderful try in the
You're not gonna
corner.
get anything from me by trashing.
They made the tackle. He made the tackle to settle this all up. Forced the tackle to force the handover from the kickoff straight from Keithley. They'll be disappointed with that error. They shifted it wide off the kickoff, and they looked like they doubted themselves a little bit, so they didn't have so much certainty and found themselves being bundled into touch. London found themselves playing from the middle of the field, went back to the middle of the field a couple of times, caught them on the road. Great finish, Boafo, off a terrific Corey Aston pass.
And what a fantastic return for, well, a debut in fact for Gideon Boafo. What I mean is a return in the sense that he was all set to make his debut a couple of years ago, snapped his Achilles and had a hamstring injury in 2019, when on the verge of breaking into the first team, and so missed that season, and of course an enforced miss of 2020. So great start to him. That'll do his confidence no harm at all, as Hankinson's conversion attempt with the left foot is good from the touchline side, and the Broncos have an early 6-0 lead.
Great start all round, kicking great. Great structure, knew what they were doing. There's a number of little half opportunities as the set went through for London.
Yeah, mate, you're good in the rucks, boys.
Tough challenges ahead for Keithley. They really need to pick themselves up here. They really need to kick nice and deep. Make sure they find London kicking on the 5th tackle. Don't give away any silly errors. Make it hard for London. Make them start working their way into the game, because they've given them an easy opening to this game.
On this kickoff.
Kicking tee being thrown on for Ben Stead.
Come out when I call you.
Keithley Cougars fullback.
Already.
Second spell at the club for him, after rejoining in 2020 from the North Wales Crusaders. Deep kick then, and as we can see, that 4G pitch, just a slightly different feel about the bounce, as that one's fed on to Navarrete. Tries to get the Broncos out from deep. Good exit run again from Reece Curran down the left-hand side. And a little scurry from Sam Davis from acting halfback. Shrugs off the attentions of one man. Takes 3 of the red, white and blue shirts to bring him to ground. And another little dummy half dash. Making good yards there, Chris Hankinson. And the Broncos themselves are going from end to end in a set here with Olsi Krasnicki. Keithley, their work cut out on defence in the early stages. Corey Aston's going to hang up a bomb here, and good take in the end from Ben Stead, but penalty's been given.
He's given it for offside. He's given, and the Keithley chase, sorry, the London Chasers did get in front. It was a terrific set from London, but a very poor set defensively from Keithley, just in the deep, on a very poor kick. They haven't found touch. Geez, they're giving London some big chances early on.
Yeah, cardinal error, but the ball has gone to ground, and well, he's got away with the gaff, and Taylor Prell has it in his hands for the Keithley Cougars then. Driving towards the halfway line was Mo Agoro, Jamaican international. Tackle on halfway, the number 2. Now what can Keithley, the first spell of pressure, or first spell of possession I should say in the game for them, as around about halfway with Kieran Moran. Down the left-hand side comes second row forward Dan Parker. 2 in at the tackle for the Broncos. Miller tries to sneak and find a gap down the short side and bounces off one man, heads towards the posts. Navarrete heading up a 3-man posse to do the tackling, and in at dummy half is Ryan Wright. Bailey now gets it away. It was Gale on to Prell. He's got support from Agoro down the right-hand touchline, but takes the tackle in the end of Hankinson, and had to be quick there, Agoro, from the play the ball to ship it inside. The kicks come in. That is out of play, waiting for the call from Robert Hicks.
20. Get in there, wait for me, please. Hang on.
20-metre tap.
Good, guys. Hit that white line. Wait for the
Good
restart, Tony.
London.
Impressed with what you saw from Keithley in their first real little spell of possession.
Yeah, they were dominated by London though, so they were really they're losing the physical battle. If you watch every play the ball, when Boafo goes to the line here, see if he can beat players to his feet. This occasion, that's good from Keithley. Got themselves on their feet in the opening set of 6. It's taken 3 Keithley players all the time up top to get in there, and they're just having trouble taking the speed and power of London at the moment.
4, move now.
Yeah, the Broncos then.
This is a better set actually. This is a better defensive set from Keithley. They're handling the contact well as they lose that collision here.
Move now. Got to time it back in.
Just inside the Keithley half of the field then. It's going to be Davies who spins a pass to his right. Corey Aston with the right boot. Hangs up the kick. Well done to Ben Stead as well there, because the ball clearly swirled a little bit on its way down. Gets it away to Robert Matamosi. He's found a bit of space down the right-hand side. Got that away.
Move now, back
to
here,
Taylor Prell.
Go.
Takes the tackle.
Short,
and once again, Matamosi keen to get through a bit of work.
Hold, go. 2.
Navarrete with the tackle on this occasion. Keithley trying to play an expansive game here. We heard Rhys Lovegrove talking about the Broncos. In his eyes, we're going to be doing that, and they're trying to match that as well to give them credit, but they're deep inside their own half at the moment with Miller.
Ball off that ball! Go.
And approaching the end of this set, the kick will come in then from Miller once again. It's deep. It's turned Ed Chamberlain. He's got the length of the field to go if the Broncos are going to be successful with this play. And down the left-hand side then.
Move together now, get to marker and get square.
Takes the tackle.
Make sure you need, don't go short there.
Abosmiski showing a bit of pace. Ed Chamberlain getting involved. Josh Walters calling the shots. Sam Davis goes in at dummy half here.
We've got 6 again there, an error from Keithley, so it's back to 0. First tackle for London. This is a big chance for London now.
Josh, don't do that, go. He was coming out when you trapped him.
Yeah, a lot of work for Keithley to do in defence here, as it's the Broncos pouring forward with the debutant Jacob Jones. Davies goes in at half-back once again, acting half-back. Meadows to his right, turns to the left-hand side to Krasnicki. Kick has come in, it hasn't come in. In fact, it was a knock-on, wasn't it?
It's foul play.
It's a penalty, London. It's a high shot there from the Keithley defender, so a lot of errors early on. We see Chamberlain at the back is retrieving the kick. Went and found some good support on the left. I like this play. Great work from Miski initially, feeding Hankinson, I think it was, out wide. Lovely little way they got themselves into good position, and from there Keithley came up with a bit of a high shot off the ball. It was a bit unlucky. It was an error force, but even if it's an error force from Robert Hicks is explaining to Keithley players here, doesn't matter if there's a ball dropped. If you hit him around the head, you're going to be penalised for it. And hence we've got a penalty situation here. Be interesting to see what London do. You'd think with momentum.
Stop short to get back on the 10. Come all the way before you stop.
Really communicating heavily the whole way throughout this game, hasn't he? Been Robert Hicks been really clear on everything he's been saying.
Are you tapping it?
Here's the injury here.
High. Time back on.
Yeah, Jones just been upended as play continues then following the penalty. 6-0 the Broncos lead inside the 10th minute here, this first round Betfred Challenge Cup tie. And London in search of a second try to go with that one on 3 minutes from Gideon Boafo. Davis spins a pass to his right then. And it's Walters heading towards the posts. Play the ball to Davis once again. Aston waits. Wants to link up with players on his outside, does he? No, he gets it back inside to Krasnicki. And he's, what, 2-3 metres short of the line. The Broncos then closing in on a second try. Can the Keithley Cougars defence hold out here? Powerhouse drive from Navarrete. Gets across the line underneath the post, but held up by a posse of Cougars defenders. Strong in defence there, the visiting side.
Very much so. The first tackles, the Broncos again have got to repeat a top up in their set, so they're a big, strong chance here.
Move off that leg. Goal line, hold.
Within 5 metres as Davies turns to his right once again. Looks out the back door to Jimmy Meadows. Here's Will Lovell, the skipper, trying to get on the try-scoring act with a spin in the tackle. Takes that in the end, and Chamberlain now at dummy half spins a pass to Meadows in centre field. Steps off the left foot, can't get through the 2-man Keithley defence. Davis has a dummy half dash. Sam Davis tries to stretch out and get across the line. Good defending from the Cougars, but still tackles left in the count. The ball's gone to ground though. A mistake coming there from Jacob Jones on debut. Maybe just a little bit anxious, thinking he'd scored the try before he put the ball down there, Tony.
Yeah, it was open for him, wasn't it? The young man on debut. He's lots of things. 3 defenders in front of him. It was an easy catch for him to make. It was a nice pass from Meadows. It was the right play. London a little bit trying to go around a bit too much here at the moment. You know, some of the really wide passes from dummy half, and Keithley getting up and matching them. Offside, London, penalty against. So opportunity, a bit of a pressure release, calm it down, you'd think Keithley would want to do here. A bit of a chance to regroup. 11 minutes in, they've been under a lot of pressure. I don't think I've seen a play the ball win or ruck win yet from Keithley, so they're just sort of grinding their way through the game, and they're doing it a little bit tough. Let's see if they can physically get themselves in a position where they can get a quick play the ball in this set. That's what they really need at the moment. You can see London are really hitting hard and holding and dominance. A nice slow play the ball, that one there. And that's what's really hurting Keithley at the moment.
Yeah, Keithley, quick hands across to that right-hand side.
Again, being pushed back, continually pushed back defensively by London, who are really putting some pressure on with their defence.
Just struggling to get over the advantage line. Billy Gaylor. Keithley standoff half just inside the Broncos half of the field. Now it's with Moran.
Yeah, it's the collisions. It's the collisions London are winning are forcing the errors out of Keithley at the moment. That's, this is the full-time, well-prepared squad against a team that's really having putting in a great effort, but they're just struggling and on the edge physically here. No scrums, of course, at the moment with the COVID restrictions, so it'll be a handover to London. And zero tackle.
Get your hands off it, go!
Yeah, Moran coughing the ball up, so possession back with the Broncos, back with Navarrete.
One!
Move! Age now.
Get to mark a clean hold, go!
2018 grand final winner, of course, with the Wigan Warriors back in those days. Krasnicki down the left-hand side, looked to get away the offload, but didn't have the support, or either way thought better of it. Aston has now put the ball on the deck as well, so just becoming a little bit scrappy.
Classical pre-season errors these, where they're usually not, they're not enforced errors, it's just timings out. You could see, I don't know if we noticed there with Aston going to the line, he had a lot going on in his mind. He had the ball out in front, and he wasn't really clear on his decisions, and he really needed just to dig into an inside shoulder, pass a little bit early, just play with a bit of certainty early on to get your team running as a playmaker.
Move now.
Keithley, can they get a foothold in this game? They're trailed just by those 6 points. Not even a quarter of the way through yet, but struggling to make a real impact at this stage. It is still early days. They've just had that one hit out last week in a pre-season warm-up game against the Bradford Bulls.
Dominant.
And they're in possession just inside.
Stand now. Dominant, mate.
The Broncos half of the field there through Matt Bailey. They're going to switch it down this near side the left to try and find a bit of joy. But once again, it is around this time.
Last Olsie, move now.
Starting to make a few yards. We've seen a bit from Brendan Santee as well, who's trying to impress Reece Lovegrove clearly on debut. He's the man with the man bun as that ball is kicked deep into the Broncos half of the field, and the try-scoring Gideon Boafo makes the catch, shrugs off one man, and Boafo on his way here. Now then, could this be something special in the Challenge Cup? Gideon Boafo shows a clean pair of heels to several Cougars defenders before being pulled up on halfway. Exciting run-up.
2, move! Play it!
Walters.
On the mark, Josh.
As the Broncos
move!
try and make the hit down centre field and find a gap through standoff half Jimmy Meadows. Now it's with
4, move!
Romain Navarrete on the 20. Davies goes in at dummy half, spins the pass out once again, this time to Meadows, who brings on the runners. Here's Chamberlain chiming in from fullback.
Hold it, hold. Go.
2 men in at the tackle. Santee, one of them. Here's Navarrete taking the Meadows pass and held up just beyond the 10, but in fact that is the turnover. And you've got to credit Keithley, because from one end of the field there, Tony, Gideon Boafo set the wheels in motion for the London Broncos. Could have gone the length in that set, but they've held out.
They did fantastic. What a start to the game from Boafo. What an amazing start, both defensively and offensively. Not only the big plays that we've seen, the try and that big run, but he's made 3 great defensive reads, which are really important at this part of the game. And I agree with Keithley that I thought they'd gone for all money when they were, if the fact that they could let Boafo get through so quickly, you thought they'll probably leak points there, but they regrouped and showed great grit and great character in that set. And again, they're just having this real trouble. They've got no field position, 0 field position in terms of attacking ball down there. They're just having trouble getting out of there. This is interesting, a bit enterprising to go wide, but they found themselves struggling when they've gone wide the last couple of times. That's a great little run, great little incision. They need a nice attacking end of this set.
Yeah, Charlie Graham it was, debutant with the run at left centre. Kickers come in then from Jack Miller. It's taken deep inside his own half by Broncos fullback Ed Chamberlain.
Good chase, great chase from Keithley. They are cranking it up a bit. They enjoyed that last bit defensively. They could just do with a little bit of line speed. They're on their heels there and letting London come at them there. That was a nice offload from Miski. Showed some real power in the tackle.
And here's Aston. Corey Aston stepping and weaving, gets the ball away down the left-hand side to Miski once again. Good support work from him, having been involved a little bit earlier in the move. Here's Aston with a spin out of the tackle. He's got Meadows screaming for the ball, but in the end he looks to Jacob Jones, who looks to shrug off his man on the inside with a left-hand fend, and Jacob Jones is going to go round behind the post and cross for the second try of the afternoon. 17 minutes gone at the Rock, and it's London Broncos 10, Keighley Cougars 0.
Well, he dropped the ball with the line open, a little bit of a chance earlier on, Jacob Jones. He didn't on this occasion. He pinned his ears back. He backed himself. You can see why Danny Ward's giving this strong young man a chance. As we said, at Coventry, on loan out of the academy, back up in, look very comfortable there. Keighley lost their way defensively. We're giving them a bit of a compliment. Miski does a great job here, hits the accelerator, finds the offload. They keep good control as they work their way downfield. Hankinson did well. Aston keeps his head about him. Miski appears again. But from here, watch Keithley's defence. You'll see people running out of the line there. That's breaking up their defence. Individuals trying to solve it. That just disjointed the whole Keighley defensive line. And all of a sudden, individuals found themselves on their own rather than working as one defensive line, the Keighley team. And they got paid. They paid for it with Jones scampering away in the end. Looked like an easy try. In some ways, it was their own doing, Keighley. They should have held rank, kept their line together, and made London work harder to find the holes rather than present them with it.
So it looks a bit of a formality for Chris Hankinson with that left boot, and proves to be so. 12 points to 0. The London Broncos are on their way, as things stand at this moment in time at least, for a tie against the York City Knights next week. What can Keighley Cougars do about that? Well, at the moment they've really got to still establish themselves as a competitor in this game.
Yeah, they could hold themselves together. Just, they got under a bit of pressure and they just lost rank with each other. I'll say it again. Individuals decided to take individual decisions and it hurt them. It'd be an easy conversation for the captain under the goalpost there. It'd be, listen, let's go back to our systems. We'd be going all right. It's been, 20 minutes and we've been sitting at 6-0 down where we've been more than competitive. They've had no field position at all. Haven't had any chance to attack the line. That's a real compliment to the Broncos defence at the moment.
Jacob Jones going to be a happy young man, 21 years of age. I mentioned he's back at the Broncos from Coventry Bears, and a try on debut in the Challenge Cup for him this afternoon. So London have it again.
Here they go.
Krasnicki. Now then,
here's a chance. It's a knock on from Krasnicki. So finally they've forced an error. It's a great little effort coming in from Jack Arnold, coming off the bench, upping the tempo, putting a bit of physicality in. Keithley have elected to take the turnover in the middle of the field. Let's see what they can do with it.
So here is Wright with the ball away down the left-hand side to Ben Stead, coming in from full-back to those Broncos home shirts there in defence. Opportunity here for the Keighley Cougars. Here's Dan Parker. 10 metres short of the line. Wright goes in, scurrying in there at acting half once again. Miller looks to his right. That's away the offload, but again, they've got that move covered, the London Broncos. First test in defence for them then, really. Jack Arnold it was with the run. What can we see then from the Cougars? The ball's gone to ground here from Agoro. Backwards. Again, London enthusiastic in defence, as you'd expect them to be a quarter of the way through this Challenge Cup tie. Josh Lynham driving towards the Broncos line then. 10 metres short. It's on the last, says referee Robert Hicks. The kick will come in from Miller, floated away to this left-hand touch line. And a good catch in the end it was from Gideon Boafo under a bit of pressure.
What a game Boafo started off with. How's this for a take under pressure? Traffic all around him, off balance, on his heels. Took it as clean as.
Looked like you after a night out round Richmond.
So he caught that ball. You've seen it. He caught it from the field of play and fell into the end goal. So that's why it's not a 20-metre restart. And here he is again, getting involved. Wonderful, wonderful debut.
So
let's have a look at London, what they do here. It's just those little noses through. They're just finding their little paths there. Meadows is struggling to keep up there with that knee. It looks like he was really struggling for speed.
Yep, Taylor Prell picks up the loose ball then. Keithley, Tony mentioned Jack Arnold on the field. Aaron Levy has also gone on from the Cougars bench.
Here's good.
It was Meadows who put the ball to ground.
Go, stay responsive.
Spared the blushes of Keithley because London was set there to wreak some havoc for a third time possibly in the contest. Agoro, Jamaican international, just inside the Broncos half of the field. Moran with a powerhouse drive. Kieran Moran. Davis goes in at dummy half once again. Here's Miller looking to link up with the outside backs. Charlie Graham, blonde-haired figure, tries to step his way inside Lovell, but he's up to the task. Is the Broncos skipper with a copybook tackle down around the ankles.
It's a good point there when you talk about down around the ankles. Graham on Will Lovell and Noam back row. They'll fancy that, Keithley. They'll fancy Graham on Lovell as the game goes through. See if we can get him for pick. They won't fancy that.
Unforced error.
Yeah, again, you know, early season, I say this a lot in the early season, there's so much going through your mind, the little skills
back you go.
are not in sync as you want them to be. They'll be very, very disappointed with that. And the second set of six down there, but they've got a little bit to look at in that set. I thought, I was about to mention there, I thought Graham will fancy taking Lovell on a little bit down this left-hand side. There doesn't look like much joy from on the other side. It looked like Hankinson and Miskey are in pretty good control there. So it'll be interesting to watch as the game goes through what Keithley do with that. If they decide to sort of set themselves up on the right-hand side of the field with a passing game down to the left-hand side. But this man, Parker, out the back of him, you'd expect Stead to be working and feeding in, maybe to get Charlie Graham into some space.
Maybe just taking a little bit of a knock there, Dan Parker, but as you can see, back in the defensive line and awaiting some opposition here from the London Broncos, who have possession then with Hankinson. A couple of goals for him in that 12-0 scoreline so far. If you're just joining us, Gideon Boafo and Jacob Jones, the two Broncos try scorers here on our league in this Betfred Challenge Cup first round tie at the Rock. The Broncos, a flying start with that early Boafo try, and they're trying to make it a third time in the contest here with Davis. Stepping, weaving run. But the penalty has gone the way of the home side.
It's no coincidence, stealing of the ball there. Twice, actually. You have that discipline to get your head on and don't rip at the ball. The referees see that far too easily.
Wait.
So real pressure building again on this Keithley defence. They've just had a little bit of respite for a minute or two. But here, once more, come Danny Ward's team. And they're within 20 metres as Davis goes in at acting halfback. Gets it away to Meadows. Walters then takes the ball on the spin.
Back. Get square.
20 metres or so away from the uprights as they spin that ball left once again. Aston got runners down the left-hand side, picked up off his bootlaces by Miskey, who's touched the ball down in the corner, but that was a forward pass, says referee Robert Higgs.
Let's have a look at this one. Yes, it was. Okay. Wonderful pick-up. To the naked eye, I thought it looked a good ball out the back, but quite clearly it was a good metre forward. Wonderful pick-up from Miskey. If this caught the eye a little bit, both wingers have here for London. Miskey, two offloads. One, the reason they got this penalty here, London, before they come up with that error was because of the Miskey offload. He's created a bit of tempo, and there's a Miskey offload earlier that set up the field position for the try. So physical contribution for London wingers has been very important.
Move together.
It was a forward pass, wasn't it? But is that one of those, when you're coaching, where if it was against you, you say it was a forward pass, and if it was for you, you'd say, I didn't see it from the right angle.
Absolutely, go back and review. When we beautiful replay here from the cameraman here, we could see that it was released in front of behind the blue line and caught after the blue line. So there was no question in my mind that was a forward pass. Brilliant camera work, good vision.
Jack Coventry and Kyle Keswick, the Cougars skipper, are both on the field, so all four interchanges for the Cougars have been used in this first 26 minutes or so. And they're in possession then, midway inside their own half. The pass was spun by Parker.
Last move, Josh, all the way on the 10.
Straightening up play. In the acting halfback was Keswick.
Outside.
A Doncaster man of long term, of course, Kyle Keswick. kick came in. It was Miski.
One. Move
who,
together, get to
makes the
marker,
exit run.
hold. Go, yeah, you're good, mate, you're good.
Cougars with a good chase on this occasion. Hankinson
Two.
looks to
Wait for
show
that
and go.
foot here.
Looks good,
Hold me,
doesn't he?
Kyle, hold.
Hankins
Go.
has really caught the eye. He's aggressive.
Yeah, speaking to
Three.
Danny Ward in the build-up, he
Move,
said that
hold.
he thought his players
Hey.
were fit enough in an
Go.
athletic sense. They'd done their pre-season in that respect, but it was more the contact that he was concerned with, or lack of.
Offload.
Here's Guaze
Offload,
on the
Zero.
field as well for the Broncos,
Move
but
now.
they've coughed up possession
Hold.
here.
It's a poor error for
Go,
Guys.
Zero.
It's a learning one. He had no control over that ball in his bit. It's early season. He just hold it and keep powering, use your physicality. There was never an offload coming there.
Go.
Gives Keithley a great chance.
Yeah, leave it out, I think it was by Jack Coventry.
Two. Move,
Jumping
get
down a
to
lot of
marker,
short sides,
Corey.
Keithley, aren't they?
Hold.
Sometimes that's a little bit
Go.
dangerous because you can pin yourself to a sideline and find it hard to open the field up. Like this, you know, they've go to
Three.
the short side. It kills the next play most of the
Wait.
time.
And of course we saw that in the very
Go.
first minute when they shipped the ball across field and man overboard. Here they go then with Jack
Off the
Arnold down the
ball.
left-hand side. Short, stocky figure of Jack Arnold. In his first game for 19 months in that warm-up against Bradford last week. Miller with the little dink through. Swept up nicely. Well, he says swept up nicely. Commentators curse because the ball then escapes Ed Chamberlain and is picked up by Jimmy Meadows.
He got away with that. He's got away with that. He was offside. It could have been a bouncing ball opportunity for the Keithley players there. Yeah, he's just dived in front and put his body on the line.
Line is good.
Big chance, Keithley.
Kyle, let's go, mate. Come on.
So 12-0 to the Broncos. Can Keithley fashion something here? Keswick, oh dear me, they're not going to fashion too much by just throwing the ball
Play on, one.
onto the Rosslyn
Move
Park,
now.
I was going to say
Hold.
turf, but 4G.
Hold.
Just shows you how they're feeling out there. There's a bit of doubt in their mind. They don't feel on top of the contest, so
Move now. Come
just
on.
need some
Hold
back-to-back
time.
sets here.
Wait.
They need some time on the ball.
Wait.
Yeah,
Go.
it's that lack of cohesion that you so often get. We can get it any time of the season, but particularly first up. They have it though with Taylor Prell down the
Three.
right
Move.
centre
There's no point
position,
in shouting hold if you're gonna
15
ignore. Come on.
metres or so
Go, that's it.
from the Broncos line. Keithley throwing what they've got here at the London Broncos,
now,
but can't
back
find
here.
a way through
Hit
at
the
this
goal
moment in
line,
time
Ed.
with Keswick, who straightens
Go.
things up underneath the black dot. Levy to his left.
Move
And
now.
half chance there.
Line.
And it was Jack Arnold who was going for the line, held up about a foot short. Keswick with a little dink through. Ball's come loose. Kicked on by Miller. Boafo is back there to sweep up. Look at this Boafo, Gideon Boafo. Bags of pace, but running laterally in goal. And he's been brought down, and the Broncos will concede the dropout.
Lovely little thought there from Keswick. You know, something a bit different to kick out a dummy half. Did put London under pressure, and what it has given is back-to-back sets here for Keithley. If they can go again and again, just keep this pressure up. It's a nice time in the half to do that. 10 minutes going into half-time. If they could just get themselves on the scoreboard at 12-6, given the way the contest has gone, that would be absolutely tremendous. So,
yeah, real opportunity to build some sustained pressure here. Can they come away with something? Jack Coventry was taking the dropout, or taking the first receiver from the dropout. Here's Miller, shrugging off one man, looks to his right, and Josh Walters
Release. Get back here.
in there to make
Oh,
the tackle
play it. Go to.
on Josh Lynham. Keswick with a scurry from dummy half. Miller gets the ball away down this left-hand side to Graham. Charlie Graham looked like he was going to get through. Lovell was up to the task once again and just did enough.
he's just did enough. All right, I like this one, Graham out here. We mentioned it earlier in the call. We think this is where the space might be. He's burning him on the outside. A little pop pass there to Matamosi, and he's in. A little bit more control. They have their moments here, Keithley. That's the sweet spot to go to. Graham's got some edges there.
Wait.
Yeah, useful player, Charlie Graham. Impressed last week. 2 tries in that warm-up game against Bradford. He was discovered by Reece Lovegrove, who had a spell in rugby union with the Wharfdale club, not too far away, up there in the Yorkshire Dales. And Charlie Graham got the nod, having impressed Reece Lovegrove, presumably in his time there. Also had a spell at Hull FC. It's the Broncos in possession then, and trying to turn that pressure around once again.
Good run again, Miski. He's come into the middle of the field, helped his forwards out. He's a powerful player, isn't he? He looks a real find for the Broncos.
Yeah, a bit of a handful. Davis spins a pass to his left. Here's Walters stepping off the left foot. Josh Walters. It was the left-hand side, of course, that brought him joy with that grand final winning try for the Leeds Rhinos back in 2015. Here's Meadows. Here's Lovell this time. Can he get his own back on Graham? Not on this occasion. Will Lovell. About 10 metres or so from the Keithley line. Grub kick comes in from Meadows. Not the best aim. Straight at fullback Ben Stead, who was up to the task.
Some strong go forward. It's a dangerous pass given the way the place in the field to get the ball here for Keithley. Given the way this game's gone, London have been dominating physically. Although I think London's physicality hasn't been quite as dominant as you see. Great little power surge there. Agoro coming in. That was really important. I was about to say London's middle. Navarrete had an amazing start. Amazing first 20-odd minutes where he's come on. I thought he owned the middle of the field, Navarrete. I thought he was a dominant player in there, both with the ball and without the ball. Since he's been off the field, here's a Rick chance again. Getting some great space on the edges there for Keithley. They're just starting to inch their way back in. I was about to say London's middle's not as strong as it was at the start. The interchange has not been effective, and Keithley are just winding their way into the game nicely. Keep the errors down, there'll be a big chance in the last 10 minutes here.
It was Gaylor who hung up the kick then, and Chamberlain retrieves for the London Broncos. Socks rolled down around his ankles. In fact, I don't know if they've rolled down or not, if they're actually a short pair of socks either way. He ain't got half the legs covered up. Broncos again then with Boafo. Here's Miski once more, the bearded Abbas Miski. A little bit with Manly in the NRL. 25 years of age, plays the ball now to Davis. Down the left-hand side, we have Hankinson. Up to the ground and plays it to Davis once again. And just edging ever closer towards the Keithley line here. The London Broncos. Good dash this time from Sam Davis from dummy half. But the ball has gone to ground once again.
I think we're going to see was a high shot penalty up there. He's going to see him for a swinging arm. Jack Arnold.
Penalty to the Broncos.
Been a terrific game from Robert Hicks, first one back. He hasn't missed anything. It was the right decision.
Yeah, it was
a swinging arm. It's got him in the head. It's not even a decision really, that one. It's quite a blatant one for Hicks to call. He's called it nicely. He's talking very well to the players, Robert Hicks.
Look great on the replay. Greg Richards out there as well, having a word with Robert Hicks. Richards, of course, joined the club in 2019 from Lee. Played in a grand final winning side as well with St Helens back in 2014. So bags of experience. But not in terms of age, London Broncos. They're not the oldest of sides. Their average age must be, what, mid-20s. So there's still plenty of potential as well as experience within the ranks.
Great at backing the London youth now. London is a fantastic program. Rob Powell runs down here, and David Hughes, the owner, really ambitious and really motivated to bring in the London youth through the system. And they do that well, and Danny Ward, of course, a terrific coach for doing that.
Goal line.
There's Meadows. Broncos then in search of a third try. 6 minutes before the break. Davis at dummy half. Spins the pass and then straightening it up towards the post there was Richards. Quick hands to the left hand side at Chamberlain. Coming up to the line from fullback upended. A dangerous looking upend as well, and the whistle has gone. It will be the London Broncos penalty.
It's over the horizontal here, so once his hips go up above his head, it's an easy decision again for Robert Hicks. He's just asked for time off here. One of the players has got quite a bit of blood on him. He's asking for a change of shirt. As we can see at the left of the screen there, that's happening from the bleeding nose. Robert Hicks has calmed the game down here and got himself.
I know you put him back down, but once he's over the horizontal, it becomes irrelevant. All that does is save us having to go further than the penalty.
Robert Hicks is talking about.
Thanks for doing that, because it makes it worse. But once he's up, he's up.
the Keithley players are saying we didn't drive him into the ground, but Hicks is saying once you're above horizontal, it's a penalty. So thanks for not throwing him onto the ground and creating a dangerous situation, but I have to give the penalty. Now this is a big moment here for Keithley. I thought good that they've got a break. They should sort of be in control of defending this set because they're not under fatigue. They've had a bit of time here to have a look at this one and regroup. London have been going sideways too much. They really need to hit some short passes, and this sort of going across the field looking to find spaces. They're going to need blokes really hitting hard into tight lines into space if they really want to get the results they want here.
Number 30, Latu, out there on the field off the Broncos bench.
Robert Hicks has spotted a knock on from Latu. Didn't play the ball correctly, didn't use his foot in to play the ball. So it's a handover, Keithley ball. Keithley off the hook. Very, very important play from the Keithley's view.
Wallace Latu. Danny Ward thinks he's a Kiwi. In our conversation in the build-up to this, he's certainly come up from New Zealand, an English wife, and they're giving him a trial at London Broncos. So
you can say wherever he wants to be he's from. We've seen the size of him. He's huge out there.
117 kilos apparently, and well over 6 foot was how he measured up in conversation.
Wow. You don't see him like that anymore, especially with the 6 again rule and those sorts of things. He does lose that ball. So it's a handover. Big chance back to London. We thought Keithley survived it. They've come up with an error. Let's see what London can do.
Greg Richards.
Pre-season.
He's put the ball to ground, as you can see. And that is a schoolboy error from the former Saints and Lee man. Don't know what he was thinking there. He made the angle. He got the pass popped up. It was simple as possibly asked for.
6 again, went back in.
He has metaphorically at least grasped it on this 4G pitch. Keithley have possession back midway inside their own half, inside those final 4 minutes before the break. And here is Jack Miller. He's never stopped trying for the Keithley Cougars. Ben Stead as well. He's had his moments. The Cougars fullback plays it to Keswick. They're going right with Aaron Levy. Here's Arnold towards the halfway line. Latu trying to make up for that gaff a moment or so ago and get involved in the tackle. Been playing New Zealand reserve grade for a little while by all accounts. Came through the Newcastle Knights and New Zealand Warriors youth system. Here's Levy though for the Cougars in possession. And they're driving down centre field then. Keswick going in at dummy half. He's got Jack Coventry to his left. He's going to find Miller, who hangs this up, and it's been taken at the back by Chamberlain, who's not happy at all with the challenge he received there from Matamosi.
Right, take your players that way. Take your players that way.
It was just it was beyond careless, wasn't it? In the end, it was a dangerous challenge here, charging through. As the players in the air. You can see the danger in that, and there's a clear penalty, bordering on a sin bin. That one. It was so sloppy. Both groups of players now are trying to sort it out themselves here.
And again, credit to Robert Hicks because he's diffusing this potential situation. 1 or 2 handbags been thrown, and he's bringing on his officials.
The challenge is clear, so that's
just
fine.
having a chat about what is going on here.
Who is in the air, it's reckless, and I'm putting him in the bin. Miski has ran from distance, and he has caused that, so he's going in the bin. Has anybody got anything else? Just push him in the bin. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay.
The sin bin.
Number
is
5.
the decision, and
Number
it's going
5.
to be a sin bin
Mate,
on debut
dangerous.
for Robert Matamosi of the Keithley Cougars.
So he goes for the initial infringement, and he's going to grab the London winger who was on the absolute other side of the field. He sprinted 60 metres across, and Robert Hicks is saying, listen, we don't want that in the game. When you come across, you're inciting.
Mate, you don't run in like that and take my control away from me. Go for 10 minutes. Go for 10 minutes. Go for 10 minutes.
Now that he's having to reinforce his message here to one of the Broncos players as well.
Let's let me talk. Okay. The first offence is the challenge. It's reckless.
And we're trying to make head and tail of what has happened here.
and then players all
Who is it
running.
he's citing
He's
from the
run from
Broncos?
distance, and that's what then causes that. He ends up, yes, in a
He's
in a headlock
sin-binned
with other
Robert
players.
Matamosi.
If he runs that far and takes control
Of the
away from
Keighley
me, I will
Cougars
deal
for
with
the
him like
tackle.
that. He needs to calm himself down. Get a grip of your players. We're nearly at half
Just
time.
before that,
Use
on
that to
the,
calm
from the
people
far
down.
right of the
Let's get back
screen,
to it. He was clear, mate. He was
the
clear.
other winger who
He
was sort of
clear.
coming across to do a bit of defence in case the kick had bounced in the backfield, the kick that was in the end diffused by Chamberlain. He came flying in and sort of started attacking Matamosi for what he'd done, took control into his own hands, and Hicks has said, oh, I don't want that. I don't want you controlling it. I'll control this thing. So he's put him in the sin bin. Send a message out to the group.
Trying to establish who he's sent to the sin bin.
Move now, back here, hold me. Hold.
It was Miski.
It was Miski.
Good one.
Thanks for picking that one up. Eagle-eyed Tony Ray.
Nice carry from Latu there. We've seen the size there. He's had to knock on. Had to give him a compliment. Commentator's curse.
It's incorrect, mate.
The big man has come up with an error. That's two play the ball errors from Latu. One for not playing it properly. A little bit over keen on debut. Let's see when he jumps up. He doesn't get the ball under his foot.
Yeah, recommended by Vinnie Anderson to
now.
Danny Ward. Apparently,
Hold.
giving him a call after those first 2 or 3 plays. But here at Keighley in possession. Down the right goes Billy Gaylor. Gets it away to, it's like Taylor Prell, doesn't it, with the unnumbered shirt after what happened with the blood a few minutes ago. And here is Jack Arnold stepping his way in, weaving his way towards the post from the right-hand side, but he's grimacing now in the tackle and looks to have done something to the lower part of the left leg, perhaps, maybe knee, ankle. Immediately we see Keith the physio out there to administer some treatment. 2 or 3 men in, and when you get just the sheer power and weight of those bodies all moving together, but not necessarily, Tony, in the right direction.
Yeah. Being well attended to. It does look like it's the ankle, you're right. He's clearly in a lot of pain. He's had a good impact off the bench. Jack Arnold.
He has.
Particularly with the ball, he's charged it forward. He's been a handful. Big, strong guy. The bench from Keighley's been good. Cole Kesik's been obviously important to them to get the skipper out, get them out talking. Really hung in there strongly in this second quarter of this game. Looks like he's all right, Arnold, to carry on. This must have been a bit of an awkward one.
It's good, mate. 3 there.
So can Keighley come up with something? Final seconds, probably the last set of 6 of this first half, if they can complete. Trailing by 12 points to 0.
Hold me, that's it. Hold.
Keswick goes in at dummy half. Can they come up with a play to break down this Broncos defence? Not with a kick like that from Ben Stead.
So Robert Hicks has seen a late tackle here. It was the halfback after he passed the ball.
Get him away. What's he doing?
Hicks said it straight away. He said, I've seen that. Hicks is really, you know, he sent Miski to the sin bin. He's really disappointed with the Keighley players running in. Let's watch the ball play out. Here, watch him after he passes it. Just there, he gets a shot on him. And it was a little bit late. It wasn't the halfback, it was the front rower.
Looked like Latu with the challenge.
You then run in and do something and you score.
Carlos Latu.
If you score and you've done something or it all kicks off,
And Robert Hicks.
and that loses you the try. Let me deal with it. Calm down.
He's certainly reading the right act at the moment. To Dan Parker it was who he was saying. You might have heard, get him away. Get him away. And
So Latu goes to the sin bin.
It's a penalty and a sin bin.
So that's an awful debut, isn't it? 2 errors, 2 serious errors and a sin binning for a late shot at a critical point in the game.
Uncompromising, I think, is a word that commentators use at times like that.
Time back on.
So, time back on. Be the last play, I think, of this first half. It's Dan Parker in possession for the Keighley Cougars. He says last play. They're getting another one. Here's Keswick. Ships it out to Miller. Miller down the left-hand side. Keswick will go in at dummy half once again. Not looking to head for the line himself. He's played it laterally, and Keighley, well, they're 12-11 up on numbers here. As Crowell takes this tackle wide out on the right-hand side. Agoro Throws a looping pass back in field. That's not going to help the cause. Just slows thing down for half a stride and enables that Broncos defence to get out off their line.
Hold me, step back.
If they get the ball left, they've got a chance here, Keith. They need to get a wide left. Here it is out. Oh, bad pass. They had big spaces out there.
Yes, mate, I know.
Here's Graham, though. Graham has got to 2 on 3, but he's shrugged off one challenge. And we have a whistle being blown again here. Touch judge is on from the near side. Graham throws the ball away. In frustration, perhaps.
There's been some confusion, Jonathan, around the clock. I noticed a couple of times that let's have a look at the vision. That was where the pass had to stick. That pass sticks. That is a try. Meadows knew that. He had to back himself. He only had Jacob Jones and Will Lovell outside him with plenty of speed to burn. They didn't get a chance to capitalise on it. I just noticed a couple of times in break of play that the trainers were running up to Hicks saying how long to go. They're asking him on time. So there's been an issue around the clock. I'm not sure what it was, but something must be happening at ground level. But we'll just play the action as it is in front of us.
Which is a Cougars penalty then. Levy
on
the diagonal down the left-hand side. Keswick goes in at dummy half. Miller goes down the short side left, but they're going to go open side instead. Here's Arnold driving towards the post.
Let him out.
A couple
just let him out.
of Broncos defenders around him. Keswick, short ball from Kyle Keswick and over the line.
Hold up, 3.
It's Aaron Levy, I think, who's got across the line. It is. Held
up.
up.
3.
Going to get another chance with 3 tackles left. Keswick. Now then another spill, this time from Keithley in a vital position. It was Billy Gaylor, standoff, who put the ball to ground. Just maybe a little bit of anxiety in these final few minutes. Their eagerness, their keenness to get across the line, and just half an eye off the ball.
You're 100% right. They could sense that they had a real opportunity there, and they did. There were certain holes around the London defensive line with 2 players in the sin bins. We hear the siren go for half-time. They got a bit overexcited. They've missed a couple of chances there, Keithley. The supporters will know it, the players will know it, the coach will know it, but that will give the coach a bit of hope going into this half-time conversation.
So 2 tries from the London Broncos in that first half, then Gideon Boafo and Jacob Jones on 3 and 17 minutes respectively, the 2 debutants. A couple of conversions, a good one from the touchline and one for a more straightforward one from Chris Hankinson. 12 points to 0, the Broncos lead. Rugby League is back at last. Great start to that first half of action for 2021 in the Betfred Challenge Cup. And we'll be back with you for some analysis on that first half in just a few moments' time.
Taken 10 months to get here, but Super League has reached its finale. Oh, he's hit the post. The chasers are on. The ball is disappearing. It's Wellesby. A surreal season has reached the conclusion.
Going for the corner. Well, that could be a sensational try. They could be in and they are in. Great run from Campbell. Can he get it down?
Get it! He'll score! What a chance! What a chance! Oh, yes, he can!
He's back to pace and will score! Going for the line, reaches out, ball on the line, spots the gap, they're going for it! The cup winners, the double winners, the Leeds Rhinos!
That's his most sensational try! He's going over for a try! He's going to score a try! It's the try! Off he goes! A tremendous try! It is one of the great Wembley tries!
It is the Challenge Cup final.
And it's going to be Ash Handley.
A kick to the corner. This is a chase, and that's a brilliant take. Superb for Frank Goldthorpe.
And we're off. It's just popped up in the hole.
And here is an unforgettable moment for this group of Leeds players. Maybe this is a new golden generation.
And so 12 points to 0. The Broncos lead at half-time. Tries from Gideon Boafo and Jacob Jones on debut. Those two Chris Hankinson goals. And Keighley Cougars, well, they've been struggling to get a real foothold. Have had a couple of half chances that have been unable at the moment to be good enough to take them. Tony Ray is alongside. Let's pick the bones out of that first half, Tony. And how did Keighley Cougars get themselves back into this one?
Well, they've just got to hold the ball. The first thing they can't do is give London. They've got to be really accurate in what they're doing. They went out with a plan here to go on the attack, to shift the ball, and they've done that early on. But unfortunately, what they did do is found themselves with a bit of space. Wasn't real sure what he was doing out there, Parker, and he gets bundled into touch and off the ensuing set of 6. Wonderful pass from Aston, and a heck of a first half from Gideon Boafo. Has come up with a wonderful try. Here's the pass from Aston, found the money, training ball drill, but it took some scoring. It was clearly a try. Then Miski got an offload out on the left-hand side, and London found themselves with some space. The Keighley defenders broke rank, come out of the line, charging out of the line, and that started created individual decisions as the set went through. I think it was Dan Parker for Keighley come rushing out of the line. You just watch when they catch the ball here, a Keighley player comes flying through. Yes, it is Parker. Parker's broken up the Keighley defensive line. From then London just had some individual, actually had 3-on-2 out wide there. Jack Jones on debut, kept the ball in his hand, was decisive, but put it back a little bit. That was a little bit of Keighley's problem there. London were physically strong the whole time throughout that half, and sometimes I felt Keighley were doubting themselves. I think if Reece Lovecoast can get back to them and say, really back yourself in everything you're doing here, you'll come up with a lot more joy, because there's little half chances like this. It was a lovely little kick from Kyle Keswick. It was a nice thought. They've got to be in there competing and not doubting. And when you're looking for opportunities, you'll find them. You've got to really earn them. This bloke is the real chance, Charlie Graham. He's finding some nice speed on the outside. I think he's all over Will Lovell at the moment. I think that'd be the best place to attack. And here's the bigger incident in the game. There was an awful chase from Matamosi, and then he went to the sin bin. Miski came in from the far side. It was a bit of a tough call on Miski when I look back on it, but he came in for charging in. Robert Hicks has been dominant. He's been assertive, and this London side have enjoyed being back at this field. They're playing out at Roslyn Park, 12-0 up. Interesting half. Thought they did the basics pretty well. I thought London's bench was pretty average as it went through. They come on. They didn't really contribute as much as they thought. Navarrete and Krasnicki were very clinical in the opening part of the stage of the half. But I thought they'll be disappointed in the Graze and Latu when they came off the bench for London weren't so good. On the other hand, Keighley was strong. Jack Arnold was strong. Keswick gave it some positivity. Jack Coventry was really hard working when they came on. So. Yeah, so what do they need to do, Keighley? Cut the errors out. They've just got to really make this game hard for London, and then I think they'd find themselves with a lot more joy inside of it.
And from a Cougars supporters' perspective, with the likes of QLT and his son Phoenix on the sidelines at the moment, and clearly not maybe at the strength that Reece Lovegrove might want to pick from today. You've only seen 40 minutes of rugby, admittedly, so far, Tony, but how would you figure their chances for League One and a bit of excitement down at Cougar Park this season?
If I was a Keighley fan watching that, I'd be real happy, because you know that the London side are full time. They know they're at home. They're on a 4G pitch. The Keighley side's got, as you said, key players out. They're loaded up against it. You know what that schoolboard could be looking at? You could be looking at something, like 24-0. You could be double that if they'd have really been a bunch to drop their heads. They came up with shot themselves in the foot a couple of times, so they tidy up. This becomes a whole different contest. So the Keighley fans, they know that they're still in this game, by the way. It's 12-0. They come out and score at 12-6, and all of a sudden, London have got a couple of blokes in the sin bin. They'll be talking about taking advantage of that. Keighley should be absolutely head up and right in the contest. So if you're a fan, you'd be delighted with some of the stuff that you've seen out there. You'd be frustrated. To think, why are they making such basic errors at a key time when they shouldn't be doing that? But it's early season. Even the best teams and the best players all over the world, when they're trying to hit their rhythm, they don't want to make a mistake. It's just that part of the year where you just haven't sort of got yourself back in form and got in sync with each other. And I think a couple of the drop balls that passes out the back. That's sort of a team that hasn't had a lot of time together. so they're still not quite used to playing with each other yet. And it's unfortunately for Lovegrove, and in some ways fortunately, they can go back in the next couple of weeks and get that better and better to get ready for the season. Doesn't help them today. The signs are very good, I think, out there.
Signs are good. London 12 for Keighley Cougars 0. The magic of the Betfred Challenge Cup first round. Who's Wembley bound?
Twist to Rugby League's big day, the fireworks go off. There's no roar in the background, but there'll be plenty of roar on the pitch. Leaning quickly out there, they've got numbers around, gets it away, and it's going to be another cup final try for Tom Briscoe. Ball bounces end over end in the air, but that's superbly taken by Colin Watkins, and Evans is involved, and here comes Rhys Williams, and Williams is away. He's going to take some stopping, and Rhys Williams with a try from nothing. The ball away. Williams tries to come in and stop it, but he can't stop it, and it's going to be Ash Handley. It's all about the kick here, and has he got it? No, he's not. So it remains at 16 points apiece. Now it comes Gale. Look, Gale with a drop goal, and he peels away in celebration of the moment, because he knew the moment it left the boot, it was going over. Thumbs up for Gale. Hooter sounds before they do. Gather round in jubilation. Salford sink to their knees. But what a cup final we've seen here today. What a great game of rugby league that was. This has been an unforgettable year, and here is an unforgettable moment for this group of Leeds players.
Yeah, Luke Gale holding the 2020 Challenge Cup aloft at a deserted Wembley, of course, back in October. It's all about July this time around, we hope, and pray that there are no further COVID-related interruptions as we head towards the Challenge Cup final of 2021, the Betfred Challenge Cup final of 2021. Bo Arfo and Jones, the two scorers here at the Rock, the home of Rosslyn Park Rugby Union Football Club, with two Hankinson goals, meaning it's 12-0 to the Broncos at half-time. But just seeing those shots, Tony, of Wembley last year, and you think about the great finals down the years, these two sides, of course, have never actually lifted the cup. They've both been in a final apiece. Broncos, of course, 99. What about you as an Aussie? What were your Challenge Cup memories back in the day? How did you get into it from down under?
You'll always hear all of us talk about getting up early in the morning. It was usually around a player, funnily enough. It was usually around an Aussie player, or we were looking forward to watching play over there. I was from Brisbane, from Bundaberg in Australia, so I watched a lot of stuff out of Brisbane. I remember a guy called Jamie Sandy. I don't know if you remember, he was a winger at St. Castleford. Castleford went to Cass. I remember him being in a cup final. He was a guy I played against, you know, as a bloke coming through, and I thought, wow, that's amazing to see him out there. And then we saw also the Sterling Kenny one was, you know, so famous to see that. I was a Parramatta fan as a kid, but you know, the great whole Wigan contest, and that caught everybody's imagination, you know, out there. And I think we'd always be thinking about a player from Australia that was over there. I think all the players themselves think about that. You know, I know Mal Meninga used to always talk about coming back, and going to Wembley used to be a great thing he used to love doing, just to be back there. It's a very special time there. And I remember in '99 at the London Broncos, when we went to the final, I was the chief executive at the time. It was a funny old day, because Richard Branson was the owner, and you know, it was a little bit around looking after him and taking him and walking him out on the field and all the bits that went with it. But I just remember also looking at the players, thinking how lucky you are. Just thinking, I was really, really envious of them to be playing in such a big event at such an iconic venue. And and I love as an Australian, you love the concept of the Challenge Cup. You know, the fact that any team from any of the leagues can get through and win the thing in theory, and everybody's playing against each other, is really wonderful. So, you know, it's always something very, very special.
Yep, Rosslyn Park, of course, the home of Rosslyn Park, the Rock this afternoon, the venue for this Broncos-Cougars clash, and of course the link between Rosslyn Park and Rugby League will forever be Martin Afire, plucked out of obscurity basically by Doug Lawton, wasn't he, back in his days at Widnes? I think he'd seen him in something like a sevens tournament. I think I'm right in saying, maybe.
That's right. There's a famous tournament. They play it here, and over the back of these, as we go to the wide shot, you'd see the trees at the back. There's a number of fields that back over there, a bit further on into Roehampton Gate. So there's a carnival here. The finals played on this field, but there's a lot of round robin games played out across all this whole part of southwest London. We spot a lot of players here, actually. I remember spotting a kid that came on, and actually Giles Thomas played for London Broncos, played professionally, played you know, was when I think he was their first ever academy captain. Found him at the Roslyn Park Sevens, which so we've often gone to these tournaments and found them. And Martin so famously did. You see Martin around London quite a lot now. Funnily enough, our sons are the same age and they play against each other in school rugby. So I see Martin a lot around town, and we have a lot of conversations. He's still a terrific guy and a great icon, and a great representative of the game, great mouthpiece of the game.
Yeah, what a player he was. Scored a try, didn't he, I think, on that 50-odd 12 defeat to Leeds,
That's
99
right.
final.
That's right, yeah.
Scored many, many more before that, and a few more after it as well. One of the greats. But we're back in the current then, with the two teams back out for the second half here at the Rock, and it's going to be Keighley playing left to right in this Union Jack effect strip, with the Broncos defending the try line away to the right hand side of your picture. 12-0 the home side lead.
He's gone soft, Robert Hicks, hasn't he? That was offside, wasn't it? I think everybody watching this will be thinking the same thing. Keighley got that wrong. I think half the team were offside. It was so offside, so confusing that Hicks didn't call the penalty. He should have done.
There's Jones, gets the ball away down this right-hand side to Will Lovell. The bearded skipper. Good challenge by Charlie Graham, who's impressed opposite him at centre today. It'll be a test against a player of the experience of a Will Lovell. But he's been up to the task so far as Graham.
Keep going.
And it is still the Broncos then, trying to make some early inroads, as they did in the first half with that Boafa try early in the piece that set them on the way. It's not been all plain sailing since then. Passes spun to the left-hand side to the boot of Corey Aston, who hangs the ball up. Stay out the back.
It's good to see for London a good run there from Greg Richards. I think he's going to be critical to the opening part. You'd say he's the senior middle forward, I'd have thought, mentally inside of that group, and he really needs to step up. And Navarrete did it early with Latu in the bench, and Guaze sort of debuting and finding his way in. Richards has really got to be the man that dominates it, because this Keighley middle are having a terrific time. Going wide here, Keighley, that's a lovely ball. Good option to straighten it up. Nice to hit Lynham on the chest and to get him to get some yards, and it sets this play up nicely. Nice play, Keighley. There's that physicality again. We've caught him. He's been aggressive all game. Looks a heck of a pickup. Hankinson, Chris Hankinson. Let's look at this shot. Bang. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Good lines from Keighley. You shouldn't be too disappointed with that, Billy. No, you won't have enjoyed that, but it's the right way to play the game. They're hitting lines hard. They're playing straight. They're not running, sort of trying to run around them. They're hitting in the nice line. They keep doing that and start wearing a few of those hits. They're going to get some real joy in this half.
Yeah, they're not swearing at those hits. 12-0. It is the Broncos who have it once again. It was Jacob Jones. Try scorer on his debut now. It's with Reece Curran, second row forward. Held on the 20. Broncos choosing to go towards the post once again through Davis, who's persisted in that route quite often. Although Tony did mention first half they've gone too lateral on too many occasions. Here's Guaze, still out there, other side of half time. Davis goes in an acting half once again. Corey Aston brings on the runners.
Hit the goal line.
To be Curran once again. Ball on the deck once more, just a little bit scrappy at times. It looked like we had a bit of a flow to the game in the first 20 minutes or so, but the longer it's gone on, the more errors that have crept in.
Yeah, it was a disappointing end of the first half. It was an interesting little kick. It was Kyle Keswick had done that for Keighley, a similar part of the field. The back end of the first half, Davis tried it himself, and Keswick was the man who read it. Easy one for him to read. Lovely ball. Nice, lovely bit of space there. Finding Dan Parker out wide. I like that. We like that play, don't we? We like the way they look into that space out there.
Don't forget, of course, neither side has 13 men on the field at the moment. Two Keighley players received yellows before half-time. Robert Matamosi and Paulos Latu. Abbas Miski also saw yellow for his involvement after the Matamosi incident. So Hicks reminded him who was in charge. And he has been today to good effect. Stead plays the ball in, and Keithley inside the Broncos half of the field through Jack Arnold. Here comes Aaron Levy heading towards the posts. Just a little bit of early second half confidence here, 4 minutes in, despite the fact they're down to 11 at the moment. Last tackle of the set, they're going to go down the left-hand side. Little chip kick comes in from Dan Parker, well read at the back though by Chamberlain.
Yeah, been good, Chamberlain. He's been solid back there. His runs have been aggressive.
Yeah, but a good drag as well by the Keithley defence to take him out into touch on the far side. The tackle was not complete. Jimmy Meadows doesn't agree necessarily with Robert Hicks's decision. Tried to get the ball back inside, didn't he, Ed Chamberlain? He's going to concede possession here.
Terrific defence. Working all together out there. It's Parker, it's Graham. Dominant part of the field for Keithley, offensively, dominated defensively. Wow, big chance here for Keithley. Big chance for Keithley.
Coventry, who apparently goes by the nickname Steam Pig, following the famous Mick Morgan commentary, played the ball there. It's on the deck once again, and just...
How do you do that? You've got two Broncos in the sin bin here, so you're a man up. You know, you don't need to be going wide. You need to be cutting into little lines. Stop running sideways. You need to be hitting holes in there and being decisive. Just dragging Broncos defenders in early in the set. The spaces will open up for you then. You don't want to be running around wide, spreading out, trying to find big plays out the back. Hit your holes, hit your holes, hit your holes, and then the spaces open up for you.
And as you can tell from this commentary, Tony, I am not and never have been a coach, but you would think that if you're a man down and you've got the ball, you'd want to hold it for as long as you possibly can during each set.
What's happened there? You know what happens if you're the Keithley players? You're seeing there's a lot more space out wide because you're a man down. They're seeing, but they start running out to the spaces. But the way to get to those spaces is not to run to them; it's to drive into the players in front of you. And when you've got enough numbers, then you go to the spaces. I hope that makes sense.
Deep kick then, taken on the full by Stead. Thinks about going to his right, and then in the end goes left and takes the Meadows tackle. Cougars down the left-hand side once again. The peroxide blonde-haired figure, I think he is, of Charlie Graham. Flash hairdo, but he's had the game to match so far. Matamosi, who is back out there on the field.
Get marker square. Go, you know, square, Sam.
So the sin bin players are back, but it's sideways again from Keithley. They need to see they're running themselves into issues where they can't straighten up.
There's just a little bit of a feeling of sort of hit and hope about this. They're having a go, there's no doubt about that. There's no question about the effort the Cougars players are putting in. At the moment, strategically, we're wondering, what can they do? Here is Graham once again. He really has been a standout for the Cougars, but once more gets away an offload that wasn't necessarily on. And Dan Parker can't reel it in. And we have another handling error.
Every time you're involved in something, no, listen to me. Every time.
Penny's got to drop soon. They've got to just go straight, drive in. Just both halves are running sideways, and the fullback Stead is doing the same. They're trying to sort of get around them by running sideways. They need to hit angles in, hit straight. Jack Miller needs to take control of that. Get his hips square, go straight at defenders, and have people either side of him. Start sitting Broncos defenders down, rather than let them go sideways and drift off to Charlie Graham. Charlie Graham he's getting caught in spaces. That's why he's coming up with errors, because every time he's getting the ball, he's finding all the Broncos defenders are on him. They're running at him.
Come on, mate, we're going.
So Miller has to take control, and Gaylor has to take control by holding the defence straighter in the inside, so there's space out wide for Graham to take advantage of.
It looks as though Corey Aston is leaving the field over on the far side, just going out of shot. Miski, as you can see there, back from his spell in the sin bin. The penalty's gone the way of the Broncos here.
That's big if Aston's off. That's huge. Meadows has to step up, but Meadows looks like he's playing on one leg at the moment. I can see him waving his arms around. He's on the ball now, so he's going to take control of the ship. Navarrette's been great, hasn't he?
Play on!
He's been terrific. He's come back on. Guaze.
Yeah, good run from Titus Guaze. And a good tackle as well. It had to be by Taylor Prell, but Broncos pouring forward. Here's Navarrette once again now, the powerhouse figure of Romain Navarrette. Around about 10 metres from the uprights. He's going to play this ball, and they're coming this left-hand side with Hankinson to Chamberlain. Chamberlain gets it away to Josh Hodson, who's trying to find a route through into the left-hand corner. Once again, Prell up to the task in defence. Hankinson, as they're back to 13 aside out there now with the return of Latu from the sin bin. As the Broncos who are pressing for a third try, 12-0 lead. Davies to his right, Guaze gets the ball away. It is Latu who is back out there, and the Broncos going to receive another penalty here by the looks of things.
In line with me, Sam. Go.
They have, and they're running it. Navarrette and right here having a pop at each other. I've got to say, Navarrette looked like he maybe got a left hand in there on Ryan Wright.
We'll give him a compliment. We're going to give him
Foul play.
a slap on the wrist here for that one. He didn't enjoy that contest, but Wright did the right thing. He was doing nothing wrong. Navarrette took it too far. He needed to concentrate on being in control there. Wright had done nothing other than pressurise him, and Navarrette didn't like it. Keithley forced an error.
Yeah. Borderline.
Move now.
The left arm of Navarrette as well going into that challenge. Keswick though in possession for the Cougars then. Kyle Keswick.
No.
251 appearances in 11 seasons with the Doncaster Dragons. Miller gets the play away down the left-hand side.
Come on.
Keithley with Parker trying to find their first points of the afternoon. Lynham now down centre field, but as has often been the case,
Get to marker.
they get into the Broncos half of the field, and then ideas are not
Move now. Step back
strongly
here,
forthcoming. Here is Coventry down the left-hand side. Jack Coventry in the scrum cap. Ball is going to be put high in the air by the right boot of Miller, but that is out on the full. So another Cougars error.
He's entitled to make a tackle, but he has to be committed when he does that.
There's going to be a penalty to Keithley. It was the challenge on the kicker. I think it was from Guaze.
He has to be committed at that point. That is late.
Yep. So Robert Hicks is saying it was a late tackle, forced the ball to go into touch. Let's have a look at the kicker. Yeah.
Once the ball is gone,
it's a tough call. He looked like he pulled out of it. Didn't like there was much he's going to do. It's half of the. You can see what the referee was seeing. One thing you could say there. It's a fair call.
Yep, Guaze penalised. And a chance then for Keithley. That was the last tackle as well. So
dominant.
One of those cardinal errors, conceding penalty on the last. That was the figure of Charlie Graham, who didn't like the challenge on him and has shrugged off his man.
He's been given that Charlie Graham against him here. A little bit like we saw with Navarrette. He's going to say you can't do that. You can't stand up and kick at the bloke and force him over. You can see what Hicks is saying. It's a tough call on Graham. You see those all day, every day there. But
next line.
Always think with those decisions. If you can see what the referee was seeing, you can live with it, right or wrong, as long as you're
to be put on the floor,
happy that
what he was
seeing was understandable. And it very much was in that occasion.
Robert Hicks. Well, they're testing him both sets of players here. They're testing his skills and game management. Up to the task at the moment. 12 points to 0, the home side lead. But they're asking questions. And just sort of quarter of an hour either side of the half-time break. He's just got a little bit niggly out there in the middle. We've had the 3 sin bins already, and it looks like it's continuing to some extent. Here's Guaze.
Move now.
There's no momentum in the game. No side's got momentum, is what I mean. So that's when it gets niggly. There's frustration. Everyone feels frustrated because you're trying to get momentum and you get errors and you get niggly decisions. London need just to sort of batten it down and get some sets out, as do Keithley.
And Broncos heading forward with Navarrette.
Don't fall for that.
Championship ambitions, of course, again this season. The London Broncos have been up in Super League just a couple of years ago. Hanging kick was by Meadows. It's out of play.
That's awful.
Off Matamosi.
That's awful from Matamosi. You have to take that. You can't do that. It's unfair on your forwards that have worked so hard all set just to come up with such a basic error. And we were talking about momentum. London now have it. It's because they've put some pressure on there. Nice kick. Put indecision there. Let's see what London can do. This is a big moment for Keith. I know we say big moment quite a lot here, but here they are.
Wait, mate, though, we've got a man down.
Yeah, looks as though Dan Parker it is on the far side.
Kes,
For Robert Hicks' goal. Man down.
Will.
Yeah, it is Dan Parker. Keithley Cougars number 12, just receiving a little bit of treatment, as he has done already earlier in the piece.
I know neither side has played competitive for an 80-minute game in 12 months.
Shots there of
but they're just fitting us that there's
suburban
just too much
south
of people
West
sniping
London.
at one another, people doing a lot of silly things. They've got to clean this up, otherwise we're going to end up going back where we did in the first half, and I don't want to go there. So come on, let's get into them.
So Robert Hicks, once again, just reaffirming who's in charge and what he wants to see from both sets of players out here. Good refereeing.
Go, yeah.
And it is London in search of a third try, as they have been since they scored the second on 17 minutes. Here's Davis with a spinning, twisting, turning run, and Sam Davis has got across the line. Has he got the ball down? Well, the crowd effects think he has. And it is, in fact, a third London Broncos try then. 53 minutes on the clock. And Davis has struck for the first time in his season. A third for the Broncos. And they lead then by 16 points to 0.
Very happy with the two, isn't he, Davis? They got momentum from this. They earned momentum. They're gone. There's a pinpoint accurate kick. It was a sloppy area for Keithley. The offload, when you got momentum, then you find the offloads. And the offload came. Davis was there, had his eyes up, he was looking. He took the offload, he burrowed his way to the line. And that is a critical try. It was the first little bit of momentum that had come into this half. Came London's way from the error. Matamosi had been off the field for a while. He's come back on and he's come up with that error. So he'll be very disappointed with his last few contributions in the game. London will be delighted with that. And that sort of sends a message similar we're talking about half-time with Keithley. You just need to cut the errors out, keep it nice and simple, grind through it, and you actually might have something to look at in this game.
So Hankinson trying to convert his third try of the afternoon, and the touch judges' flags acknowledge that he did so. 18-0 to the London Broncos, and there's still what, over a quarter of this game to go, but the way things have gone, Tony, you think that that is probably that as far as the outcome of this contest is concerned?
They'll be delighted with that. The young man, he scored a try. I was wondering who it was. It was Jacob Jones came up with that offload. He kept himself intense in the contest. It was a simple hit up, but he was three players around him, backed his way in, used his leg strength. He's a big, powerful young man, and he freed up that right arm. It was a telling freeing up of the right arm. The ball was released. Davis scores.
Even I learned from
Benstead restarts then. What can Keithley get out of this? Certainly a bit of pride already in their performance, no doubt about that. And it's Navarrete deep inside the Broncos half of the field then. Winners of this tie to take on York in the next round. Of course, they were victors over Sheffield Eagles by 30 points to 6 at Doncaster last night.
Discipline, Roman.
Broncos in possession once again with Navarrete then. In goes the try-scoring Davis at dummy half. Spins a pass to his right to Guaze.
Guaze's got a real rhythm here. When he follows Navarrete, when Roman Navarrete takes the ball, Guaze gets ready. It's clever because Navarrete's dominating this game in the middle. Yeah, Guaze's feeding off. It's a clever way to play. Nice 1-2 combination from those two players.
And they're getting some good go forward now. Hodgson plays the ball. Len Davis with the pass inside. Hanging up the kick was Hankinson, and it's taken this time. And that will settle a little bit of nerves and tension for Matamosi after that gaff a few minutes ago over in the left-hand corner. Charlie Graham once more. He's been trying to stem the Broncos' tide on plenty of occasions this afternoon, but he's come up with one or two good plays himself in a promising performance.
Don't get involved there, you work square. 4, move, come on. Ball me.
Bruce Curran has, we've heard, failed an HIA test.
Move now, get square.
And so the Broncos forward will not be returning to the field of play.
Look at this pressure on Keithley. There was a wonderful little passage of play there after the try. London, they went down, they found themselves with a good kick, they put pressure, they put the kick in the right place, back over to Matamosi, who dropped one earlier. Keithley made 12 metres, I think it was, in that set. And look where London are on tackle 1. Some real big momentum swing for London here. Lovely, lovely carry there. You can see they're peeling, leaving defenders behind, working hard. That was Miski coming in and helping the forwards out, which is always great.
Meadows then gets the ball away. It's with Chamberlain, back to Guaze, with a standing start this time. Titus Guaze, Zimbabwean, but he heads towards the post, just decides to straighten up play. Davies goes in at dummy half. Latu waits for the pass and takes it. Hankinson again. Down the left-hand corridor to Hodgson. 10 metres or so away from the line. This last 20 minutes or so could be where it tells on Keithley if London can keep hold of the ball. But on this occasion they can't.
There was a Latu error there. It's a simple reverse play, and Latu's just going to use his size, and he's trying to barrel at the line. He's doing all the right things. He got a bit overexcited. He's coming with a really basic error. That momentum the London had, thrown away by a simple error. Cramps understandably coming in. Hardish surface for these Keithley players who wouldn't be used to training on this, and that always creates some issues.
Yeah, okay. We've had about 18, 19.
Yeah, Levy, it was receiving that treatment.
You want it quicker because you're on. So running on the tackle 1, thrashing about,
so
people in. It's slow.
Rolls down the socks. We've all been there, I guess. Anybody who's played sport at whatever level at some point. First time you get cramp, you feel like you've been shot in the calf, don't you? It's a real strange feeling. And I can only imagine these days running around for an hour in the first place to get cramp. 18-0 then to the home side, the London Broncos, in this Betfred Challenge Cup first round tie on our league. Tony Ray alongside in the commentary position, former Broncos chief exec, coach, and of course player himself.
Hold now. Wait. Go,
Mascot.
This one's going from that point of view, but Keithley have come and played. They've had a go.
Move together, get square. Step back on the right. Go.
Lacked in terms of a competitive edge. Maybe just a little bit of nous at times, a little bit of composure. But what can they show now? Stead down the left-hand side to Graham. Steps off the left foot. He had company up the outside from Matamosi, but took the tackle. Kick's going to be hung up and hung deep, and underneath it is the try-scoring Gideon Boafo, who, when he's had the opportunity to stretch his legs, has made good inroads. Looks a useful wingman for the Broncos.
Yeah, he's been terrific. It's a solid performance from London. There's been 3 standouts as we've gone through the game. Miski and Boafo on the wings have been great. And this Miski again coming in and really busy, doing a lot of tough stuff. And Navarrette's been really strong in the middle as well.
And here is Guaze once again. Tackle was made by Prell. Here comes Latu down the left-hand side. It's been an interesting trial, I think you'd have to say, for Paulos Latu, but not sure how long they're giving him a trial for. We're going to find out from Danny Ward after the match as this kick is hung up. This time by Chamberlain. It's been taken deep inside his own half then by Charlie Graham. Matamosi tries to skip and step his way through, beats one man but can't beat a second or third. Latu making the tackle. Keithley, can they just get something to take with them on that 200 mile or so trip back up the M1? Santi at the moment. Santi bounces off one and a second. Brendan Santi. 11 appearances for Wests in the NRL, former Australian schoolboys skipper. Now it's with Josh Lynham skirting the Broncos defence, but not really making much in the way of yards forward. As he plays this ball now, little dummy half dash this time from Ryan Wright. Tackled by his opposite number, Sam Davis. And they're coming centre field this time. Santi once again. The looping pass finds its way out on this near side to Agoro. Steps inside one, steps outside a second. Eventually hauled to the ground there by the tackle of Hankinson. Down the right-hand side is Gaylor.
Move now, back here.
Takes 2 men to stop him. Good momentum in this set from Keithley. We're on the 5th. It's Stead running laterally this time, brings on the runners. He's found Aaron Levy heading towards the posts. Quarter of the way to go in this match. Last tackle of this set. Can Keithley come up with a second set? Can they force an error perhaps here from the Broncos? The ball's come free following the kick. It's back in the hands of Graham. Still on the last though, says Robert Hicks. He's stepping and weaving and trying to get his way through, but they've had a pop at the line. The power play on the last of that set, and they'll hand the ball over.
Contest, winger on winger. Good to see the Keithley players up there competing and contesting. That was Matamosi.
Time off, tackle one. Tackle one. He was already down, I should have stopped it. It was
Robert Hicks has stopped the clock on tackle one here. We have somebody stricken. And it is Aaron Levy.
You'll be playing in a minute, mate. It'll be one. Just make sure he keeps the ball.
He's a former, Keithley used to run a scholarship down at Cougar Park, and he was a product of that. Aaron Levy, son of the team manager, Frank. 6 tries in 24 appearances and a bunged up nose at the moment. He's making his way back across to take up the marker position as we restart then with the Broncos. 18-0 up. 62nd minute of this Challenge Cup first round tie.
Keep here, hold. Go. Let's stay responsive, lads.
And as I mentioned, the winners taking on the York City Knights, who are
6 again.
Also promising plenty this season.
Leg pull.
The Broncos have made another substitution. Elsie Krasnicki on.
Calm down, Kezzy.
Replacing the trialist Latu.
Play the ball.
Navarrete, though, in possession for them at the moment. Davis it goes in an acting halfback. Krasnicki finds Meadows. Ball bobbles around out of the hands, though, of Will Lovell. It wasn't the best of passes to him, to be honest about it.
It was awful play there from Meadows. He's since Aston's gone off, Meadows feels like he can't take the game on. He feels like he's running around sideways, just trying to feed everybody else. And he needs to just play his own natural. He's got a great running game. Once he takes his running game away, his passing game's not going to be there. So that's what happened there. He knew he wasn't going to run, so he was running around waiting for someone to sort of identify him as a defender, and then as the attack, waiting for the defenders to identify him so he could free up the pass. And it didn't work for him. So he's got to get back to running.
Here's Lynham doing just that in the colours of the Keithley Cougars. Gaylor down this right-hand side. Walters meets him with a strong tackle. Wright goes in at dummy half and switches play to the left-hand side where fullback Stead gets involved. Now it's with Keswick.
That's better. Better line. Good work from Keswick.
Skipper's roll. Stead to his right. Taylor Prowl takes the pass, but good defence from the Broncos in the form of Hodson.
Incorrect play the ball.
Incorrect play the ball, says Robert Hicks. It is just that little bit scrappy. It is first game of the season.
It's actually important to do this with Robert Hicks, to make sure that you enforce the rules as the players go through their season.
Take it on the cross, please, Josh.
See how the play the ball comes. A bit of an elbow up there from Gaylor.
Mate, there's plenty of them with yours as well. That's the other way.
Great
you
pick
can't
up
have
from
balls,
Robert
but
Hicks.
you can't have everyone.
Gaylor was actually not enjoying the contest. The fact he's been dominating the tackle, lost concentration, wanted to get up and fight with the mark, forgot to play the ball. Hand over Broncos ball.
6 again.
Yeah, just those little things.
You need to get a grip
18-0 in a game of rugby league is not a massive score, is it? Just the 3 tries. It's just those little things that the Cougars keep coming up with when they've got an opportunity to build some pressure, to gain some momentum, to force maybe a second set. And they're just releasing that pressure every time with something.
3. Move now. Thanks, Matt, by the way. Hold, go.
And so, the Broncos inside the Keithley half of the field.
Another good pass from Navarrete there going forward. Guaze's
Guaze
working with
was.
him again.
Yep. Out to Meadows. Meadows
That's
stepping
bad.
off the left foot, just looks to his outside for the show and go, but Santi making the tackle. Hanging kick. This time he's going to test Stead. Is at the back? No, it's not going to test Stead. It's going to test Agoro. And Agoro was up to the task and has his shorts half removed for his troubles. But a good take on this occasion now. Popping up on the right-hand side. Here's Charlie Graham. Little
good
dash.
Graham, hasn't he? He's worked really hard for them. He's contributed every way he can. It's been a difficult game for him. Difficult game for centre when you're being dominated in the middle as they have. Santi, the good carry, still taking it to Navarrete and him having a great contest in the middle. Full front row of the Broncos there to take Santi to ground. This is better from Keithley, getting forward. This is nice. Levy's done that a couple of times. Back-to-back good runs, more direct. Let's hope they keep going direct and not sideways.
Give 10, mate.
Miller with the kick. It's going to bounce around a little bit, but well read by Ed Chamberlain coming in to take that before a second bounce that could possibly have caused some dangers, but the ball has been put to the deck once again. And well, it's been the Cheltenham Racing Festival this week, Tony, all week just across there in the Cotswolds. And if these were racehorses, you'd probably be hearing the trainer saying that they will come on for the run.
Yeah, for sure. First hit out. Basic errors, simple errors, frustrating errors, but stay with it. You know, there's been some green shoots coming through for both sides there. Compliments to the players. Even it's, you know, you want to be really harsh. You could say it's a normal pre-season, but we've had COVID too. So these are 12 months out for a lot of people. We've got to be forgiving. They've come up with some lovely touches.
They have. Can Keithley get a try, get some points on the board in this final quarter? Here's Stead, gets it away down the right-hand side to Agoro, but he's been forced into touch. Good defensive effort there by Abbas Miski, who showed him the touchline, closing in, showed him it closing in again, and he couldn't handle it.
Would have felt close for Agoro, wouldn't it? Look, you can see he's nodding there. He's thinking, I felt I might have had him there. I thought the fend might have got him. It was just an inch that he couldn't deal with. The power of Miski comes out there when he comes across in the tackle on the fend. You could feel Miski actually drove him into touch rather than being able to drive Miski away.
Move now. Hold me. Hold.
Yeah, just a stride too many. And a little bit of a show from Miski. Here is Miski once again, causing havoc now down centre field. Miski for the Broncos, 60-metre run. And he's going to take that tackle, and with a roll on here, the Broncos looking dangerous. But again, just a lack of fluency, just holds things up for a moment before Walters can take that bouncing ball, but still he's able to step his way through 15 metres or so now. Away from the Keithley line. Davis in an acting halfback. Navarrette's going to go route one. Navarrete, can he hold off two men and get the ball down? He can. Romain Navarrete comes up with the 4th try of the afternoon. It's gone the way of the Broncos, and that will see them through to the second round of the Betfred Challenge Cup of 2021. Surely now inside the final 13 minutes of the contest, and Romain Navarrete with his first try of the afternoon, a 4th for the Broncos, who now lead by 22 points to 0.
The two men have dominated, haven't they? A fair bit of this game on the little things here. Have got away with some points here. This man, Miski, he's been really coming up with some great little touches like that. And this man's been dominating the middle. Unfortunately for Levy not to be able to hang on to Levi not to be able to hang on to that one, because he's had a really strong game, but Navarrette's been stronger. He's been the dominant middleman. He deserved that try. No fluke, that one. He's been putting himself in that position all game where he's been charging into those tough moments. Most people have been playing off the back of him. As we see Chamberlain lining it up. Should be a throw me over from there. It's 24-0 London with a successful conversion. As I said, a lot of people have been playing off the back of Navarrette's go forward. On that occasion, Miski got them forward. London, Josh Walters, a couple of others powered him into a good position. On this occasion, that man there, Navarrete with the ball, was able to charge in a one-on-one defender. Tied defence in the middle. He's deserved that. He's been doing that, been bashed all game for it and doing the tough yards. On that occasion, there's a couple of easy yards for him to make and a very, very deserving try.
And Greg Richards coming back on to replace Titus Guaze, who's had a real impact, in particular in the second half. And I don't know about you, Tony, but just watching that passage of play at one end, Mo Agoro gets tackled into touch by Miski, and then within a minute or so there's a try at the other end. It just feels now like in the final quarter that the meter's on empty maybe for the Cougars from an energy perspective, and maybe this is where the championship side, who knows, might post another one, maybe a couple
You're
of
right,
scores.
it's exactly what you say. It is always the threat. You know, you can see London is sensing that. They're getting meters, they're driving forward. But if you're fair to Keithley, they're sticking in. They're really trying to get the slow play of the ball. They're going to wrestle in the tackle. They better be careful not to give away too many set reads. Oh, they forced an error there. Error there from Richard. So they'll be delighted with that, Keithley. They'll be delighted with that. They'll be really keen to keep it tidy, get down the other end, and I'm sure they'll be really also extremely keen to get some field position and get some points. Take points away now would be something really important for the club.
And Richards with the error forced by Ryan Wright, the Cougars hooker, just to tidy up that conversion. By the way, Chris Hankinson it was, with his fourth from as many attempts, 24-0.
What do I say? Chamberlain.
Move now.
Can't remember what you said, but it was more that I didn't mention it, I don't think, after he kicked it.
I'm pleased you picked up the defence from Wright on the error. He's forced a couple of errors, and a couple of errors on big men as the game's gone through. So he's been impressive in his aggression, his line speed.
Cougars then forward again.
Nice.
Can they see it out now? Here's Prell down the right-hand side, got the ball away. Chances in the corner for Agoro here, and Keithley have come up with a try at last for their efforts this afternoon, and look at what it means for Mo Agoro, the Jamaican international. He gets the ball down in the right-hand corner, a move sweeping forward down that side of the field. Ben Stead, I think it was, who provided the final pass, and inside the last 10 minutes, it is no more than they deserve for their efforts. The Keighley Cougars are on the board because it's London Broncos 24, Keighley 4.
Wonderful stuff from Keighley. And watch the direct run here. The man with no number on him, straight through, nice straight line. Rather than playing out the back, they've played straight. Beautiful, beautiful straighten up from Stead there, and nice positioning from Agoro. And didn't that mean something? They've worked hard. They know they've worked hard. They've come down to London, playing on the 4G pitch. Cold conditions, early conditions, everything up against them. Some of their key players out. They've toiled away and toiled away.
And
You're
Agoro
half suggesting that it might be a really difficult last 10 minutes for them. Maybe even the floodgates might open up on them a bit, but they've done the opposite. They've hung in there. A little bit of a pat on the back to Ryan Wright for his defensive effort that forced the error on Greg Richards. He's done it all game. He's come out of the line. He's forced something, and his team's responded. Loved the line of Taylor Prell. Loved him hitting a nice straight line. It's a wonderfully worked try.
and a first try in Keighley colours for Mo Agoro. Just his fourth appearance, played 3 times in the very abbreviated season last year, having joined the club from Newcastle Thunder. It's going to be Jack Miller just inside the right-hand touchline then with the right boot, and that is a very good conversion indeed. So it just shows you Keighley Cougars this season in League One, if they can get across the line, they've got a man who can kick goals from all over the field, and they now make it to London Broncos 24, Keighley Cougars 6.
Beautiful play. It was a beautiful try, wasn't it? It was wonderfully worked. Great tenacity. Now, can they concentrate? You build into your season. The contest is not going to go their way. They're not going to win this, but can they get themselves to a nice kick position, get down, get some field position off this kickoff? Getting their forwards aim up.
Bit of confidence in the veins. Last 7 minutes of this one, but again, ball has been coughed up here inside their own 20.
In the middle.
Well, it's just the reverse of what we said they should do, really. They just need to keep it uncomplicated. They scored the try by playing direct and by really driving in there. And then again by going sideways and trying to go around them, they got themselves in difficulty.
Navarrete driving towards the post, looking for a second try himself for the afternoon. Davis now spreads the ball to the right. Meadows brings on the runners. Here's Lovell. The Broncos skipper. Corkscrew style towards the line. Meadows once again. Don't forget, of course, Corey Aston's been off the field for some time now.
Move. Hit this line.
So
Hit
Meadows
it. Wait now.
Really is pivotal
Go.
as the standout halfback out there for the Broncos.
Move
Halfback, and he's got possession once again. Going himself towards the line. Davies goes in at dummy half. He's got Richards to his left. He's going to have a go on his own here, but good defence on the line. Stead
Play the ball.
and Brendan Santee, the two men involved, hold him up just short of the line. The kick has come in.
Back to one.
And it's been kicked forward by a Cougars defender, so the tackle count has been wiped here. Another chance for the Broncos. Meadows is Krasnicki. Wilson Krasnicki towards the right hand upright.
Can't play on. Push. No balance. It's a push.
Penalty here.
No balance. Can't play on.
Penalty going the way of the home side. For a push, says Robert Hicks. Not allowing a correct play the ball.
Why is that not a zero tackle? Why is that not a reset?
Move now.
I don't get why that's not a penalty. It takes the momentum out of the game.
Here's Meadows.
Nice here.
Now it's with Hankinson. He's got points with the boot. Can he add some with a try? Not on this occasion. Santee with a tackle. Davis shapes to go left and then goes to his right.
Move now,
has a crack on his own. Santee with the tackle. Just an interesting little challenge from his fellow Cougars defender, and another man down with cramp. It looks like it is Dan Parker, I think.
Time off.
He's put his leg high in the air and says he's in a bit of trouble. So the clock has been stopped at the moment. And we're closing in then. Closing in on the full-time hooter. Thoughts are going to be starting to turn shortly to Tony Ray's man of the match in this Betfred Challenge Cup first round tie. Tony, your thoughts on player of the match?
I thought for Keithley, the man of the match won't come from Keithley in a beaten performance, but I thought Charlie Graham had a terrific game, and Dan Parker worked really well. Ryan Wright's been terrific. He's really worked his heart out. The bench all sort of shone and done their parts as they've gone through. I think from the London's point of view, really tidy games, I thought, from Chamberlain and Hankinson on debut for the club, and outstanding performances probably, and also a good, good solid game from Jacob Jones. Nice efforts from Sam Davis and Josh Walters, I thought, in the middle. I thought the outstanding performances came from the wingers, Miski and Boaffa, in the front row, and Navarrete. If I was to give a man of the match, I'd be giving it to Romain Navarrete in the front row. He carried the team into great positions, and he'd be the Challenge Cup man of the match for me.
Romain Navarrete, then the nomination for Tony Ray.
Greg. Hold. Go. Well done.
A big game for London Broncos. A lot to look forward to for Broncos fans. So, player of the match for Tony Ray, Romain Navarrete, in this Betfred Challenge Cup first round tie for the London Broncos, who are going to progress to the second round here. I don't think there's any doubt about that now, inside the final 4 minutes or so. Parker in possession, though, for the Keighley Cougars, who had the fillip more recently of their first try of the season, and a first try for the club for Mo Agoro on the right wing. 24 points to 6 though they trail. They've got other fish to fry in League One. I think Coventry is their first fixture coming up shortly, so they'll want to be on the money for that one as the kick comes in, and Agoro enthusiastically is in there again, but the ball's bounced out of play near side.
It's on the last, mate. It's on the last.
Hands in the sky by Taylor Prell to acknowledge
it's on the 10 there.
might have been his error, and the Broncos will get the ball back.
Need to bounce the ball there, didn't
Step
he?
back, guys.
Prell again was poaching around, looking for an opportunity. It wasn't there for him.
One. Move now, kick.
London gone wide, now they need to go forward.
And to be fair to both these sides, and I was suggesting perhaps that after the fourth Broncos try with what, 12 minutes or so to go, that the Cougars might be running out of juice. To be fair to both of them, the energy levels, they have managed to keep them up to a good extent. To say this is first game of the season, maybe the finesse levels have not always quite been there.
Consequently, the game gets stopped. Mate, we're in injury time, so I don't know.
Stoppage once again.
The Broncos players are complaining, saying this is happening too often. We don't usually have time off for injuries in rugby league, and this is happening a bit. But as
Dan Parker's really been in the walls this afternoon, hasn't he? That's about 4th stoppage, I think, now.
Yeah, he has. And it's good refereeing from Hicks, because Robert Hicks has said, well, the physio's calling it, so the physio calls it. Let's have a look what happens here.
Let's have a look at this replay.
The trainer coming through. Should be time off.
So the trainer straight through the middle of the Broncos attackers. On a desperation to get out and see Dan Parker. He's back on his feet. The red-headed Cougars
Step back
forward.
Here,
Been good. Had a good game, Parker. He's given his absolute all.
come on, mate, hurry up. You're staying on. Tackle 3.
You could see them being a threat in League One this season, based on what we've seen, just with a little bit of a tweak here, a little bit of a tidy up there. The likes of the QLTs and the PLTs to come back into the side as well. I'm going to give League One sides
Last. Move now.
plenty to think about.
Hold.
But they trail
Hold.
here
Go.
in the Challenge Cup by 24 points to 6, closing moments
You're
at the
tight,
Rock. Kickers come in. And that is out of play, and will end up being
Where do you want it?
restart in the possession of the visiting
Not the
side.
line.
Brendan Santee
it's on the
just
blue line, mate, please.
taking a few deep breaths as he chased back after that one. The
Yes, mate.
Cougars forward.
Let's go.
Well, that was part to play in this set as well, Santee. It's a
Offload.
nice offload.
He's just having a little bit of a breather in
One.
back play at the moment,
Move
waiting for
now.
his turn for a carry.
Hold. No.
Here's Wright
Go on.
making his and plays the ball now, and they're switching it down this right
Two.
towards the right hand
Move
side of the
together.
field, down centre at the moment.
Hold. Go.
Can they come up with a second? We see Agoro involved again. They've been keen to
3. Move.
fire the ball
me.
through hands
Hold.
of Keighley
Holding him
Cougars.
in,
They'll
he's
play an
holding him in.
entertaining
Go.
style
Just don't hold
down
his
at
arm and
Cougar
he'll come
Park
out
for the
quicker.
home fans this season. As we see a reminder that Romain Navarrete picked
Four.
up Tony's man
Move
of the
now.
match
Hold.
award for this one.
Hold. Go.
Inside the final couple of minutes, here's Graham. Had a real good competitive debut in the red, white and blue of the
Last
Cougars.
now.
Tackle was made by Meadows. Robert Hicks blows the whistle once again. Maybe it's the referee who needs a breather.
You'll be playing it,
Tony,
mate.
there's been so many stoppages.
Is he okay?
Oh,
Again, the
joking, Robert.
physio scored it, so he's been
Yeah, you take your time with him. It's up to you.
been terrific, Robert Hicks, hasn't he? The way
He
he's
has.
communicated as the game's gone through. It's actually been a pleasure to sit and listen to him. Everything's been really clear. Sometimes you think some of the decisions are a maybe, but again, I always say you can see what he was seeing.
Hang on,
Made his
come on.
decision. It's tough out there. The game was scrappy at times, and he got it back in line. Could have lost control, but it didn't.
They call it game management, don't they? And certainly come over well in that respect.
Well, nice chance here for Keithley to finish with some points. Miski's come up with an error. He'll argue he was looking backwards. He's possibly got a little bit of an argument there, but Hicks has
Wait for me. I'm not.
ruled it a knock on. Keithley can take the spot anywhere across that laterally, across that point in the field.
Yeah, right then.
Going for the middle.
Here is Santee. He's keen to take a carry now. He's near the try line and he gets across the try line. Brendan Santee. Has he got the ball down for a second Keithley try? He thinks he has, and so too, crucially, does referee Robert Hicks. Dying moments at the Rock. And Keithley have hit double figures with Santee's try. It's London Broncos 24, Keighley Cougars 10.
I think when we see this one again, it's just going to be all tenacity from Santee. Goes into the tackle. I think it pauses and he finds another surge. He finds another level to twist out of the tackle.
I've got him out,
Meadows has got him. Lovell's onto him. Lovell and Jones. Yeah, he's just slipped out of Lovell's grip. Wonderful effort from Santee. That'll be the end of the game, you would have thought from there, and the Keithley players think it is. And obviously the referee would have told him that, and big finish for Santee. Very, very respectable scoreline in the end. Possibly a fair scoreline at 24-10 or 12. Jack Miller to see if he can add 2 extra points.
Another try-scoring debutant for his club this afternoon, then Brendan Santee. And Keithley through Miller, trying to make it to 24 points to 12. Can he make good this conversion attempt? He can't. Off the upright, and so that will conclude this Betfred Challenge Cup first round tie then, and we'll see London Broncos through to the next round to take on the York City Knights. It's finished at the Rock. London Broncos 24, Keighley Cougars 10, but I'd say, as I mentioned just in those closing moments, Tony, while in terms of finesse there's a fair bit to work on for both teams, they'll both be encouraged by the start to the season today.
Yeah, great respect between both sides as they go through there. Each know they've been in a good contest. I think both coaches will be delighted to have got in and got out, had a look at their new players, gives them something all to work forward to going forward. You know, London now, they have to change it up a gear. They got York, who've built themselves a nice reputation going into the season, so there'll be another challenge. They'll appreciate this hit out.
And
remember, the mics are alive.
Yep, so excellent stuff from both the London Broncos and Keighley Cougars for a first hit out of the season. As I was mentioning, finesse possibly not always there, but plenty of positives to work on. And in terms of what we've seen from individual players there, standout players on debut from a Cougars perspective, Charlie Graham at centre.
Yeah, definitely was there. Both centres were good actually. Charlie Graham, he actually gave Will Lovell a heck of a time, the London Broncos captain. I think Prell was also good when he got his moments inside of it. We mentioned Wright from hooker was very, very strong. The bench was good. Levy was very full of industry when he got on the field. Jack Arnold threw his weight around and used it to great advantage from time to time. Kyle Keswick was important to them. He sort of gave them a bit of direction, and that was a game that Keighley could have really had run away from. They managed to keep it together, and they did some terrific things. For me, they went too side. They went from side to side to side too much. They were trying to run around and get points, but they, you know, at the end of the day, it was a big physical London side, and physically they got the dominance.
And scenes then of the players going through their cool down routine at the Rock, and we can cross there live now, and we'll join our reporter Paul Kidd, who's with man of the match Romain Navarrete.
Okay, Romain, first of all, congratulations. You've actually won the Betfred Challenge Cup man of the match.
Yeah, geez, really pleased with it. First game for London, so pretty happy.
Yeah, it must feel absolutely great to finally get onto the field after such a long break, obviously with COVID and everything else. You've been training at home. It must feel frustrating at times, but it must be absolutely great to be back on the field again today.
Yeah. For me, because I went back from Super League, I've not stopped for a while, but like I've seen all the boys fucking been in the touch for 12 months, so I'm glad for them to get back out there. Like after 12 months, get a win over here. Like, it'll be a shame like the fans not there at the minute, but hopefully we can get them like as soon as possible.
I would imagine, Romain, psychologically that to keep your line unbroken during that period when you were down to 11 men, that must have been a big plus that spurred you on towards the end.
Yeah, I think the boys deal good with 11 players in a field, but yeah, I think we managed good the game. Like they give it a good opposition today, but yeah, it was good to get the win and like yeah, go the next round.
Okay, Romain, once again, congratulations on winning the player of the match. Obviously, York coming up next week, so best of luck with that again next week, and best of luck with the rest of the season. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, thank you.
Romain Navarrete then speaking to Paul Kidd, and there we can see the Keighley Cougars players with head coach Rhys Lovegrove, having a little chat about what they've seen and what they've produced this afternoon and the season that is to come for them. But let's look back on the decisive moments in this one, Tony, and first up was that opening try early in the piece from Gideon Boafo.
Yeah, couldn't have gone better, and big input from him, wasn't there, all game. Aston threw the ball early, and he found some nice touches before he gave it out to Jack Jones. Jack Jones, on debut, young man, took advantage, good power. Enjoyed the game, Jones, didn't he? He really worked his whole way through the game. He came up with a nice offload for a try later in the game. There was a bit, and that was off the back of, there's a bit of an error here, big error really from Matamosi. And from there, London had found themselves with some dominance. And this is when Jack Jones stepped in again. He just finds this offload now out the back of this tackle. He hits Davis, and Davis goes careering and scores a try. So we really took their moments, earned their moments. And look at this offload again here from Jones. Just stays in the contest, looking for his eyes up, finds a little one out the back for Dave. Davis worked hard. Keighley been great at defending their line, actually, so it's been very hard to find that burrowing try, but Davis did find that. But then great try run from Miski. I thought he's going to be a real asset, but they lost Rhys to Salford last year, and now they've got a similar player here in Miski, haven't they? Reece Williams going up there. He found some great field position. Navarrete then just charged onto it. Deserved this one, didn't he? So powerful all game. He just shows us what the assertion he's had throughout the game with that try. So we go back, we said earlier as the game went through, Miski was the one finding the field position. Navarrete capital on it. Great little line there from Prell. Powers through. Fullback straightens them up for Agoro to put it in the corner. Well, nice finish, isn't it, from Keithley? They kept powering away. A nice straight line there, driving through, pulling out of defenders. Incredible tenacity, nice skill. They're very, very happy, absolutely delighted to get on the board. And then the last play of the game. They kept the tenacity up. It shows a lot about their character. And Santi just wrestles and twists and finds his way into the line and comes up with the final points and the final say in the game. And a really proud, strong performance from Keithley. They didn't get the points, they didn't get the winning points. They don't go to the next round, but they certainly did themselves a great service with the effort they put into the contest.
Yeah, great stuff, entertaining stuff from both sides in this Betfred Challenge Cup first round tie then. And so tries from Boafo, Jones, Davis and Navarrete, plus 4 Hankinson goals against the 2 for Agoro and Santi on debut for Keithley. 24 points to 10, the home side won. We're back on the road to Wembley then, and it's the Broncos whose hopes are still alive.